Call, scan, or go online now.
Welcome back. Here's more from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who just gave an update on the war with Iran.
These troops, they want to finish this fight for their kids and their grandkids. This is about history. This is about legacy. Success matters. And because of this president and these Americans, we're closer than ever before to winning. President Trump is doing what no other president had the guts to do. Previous presidents were all talk. He's all action.
John, I know you said earlier in the show this war is lasting a little bit longer than you would have originally anticipated. What are you thinking about the Secretary of War's comments there?
You know, I think the American people are a little confused. They're patriotic. Where's the confusion? Well, initially it was supposed to be 3 weeks, but as you just mentioned, it's well beyond that. And then secondly, if it's going to be a short-term war, why are you asking for $200 billion? Right. And then thirdly, wait a second, how's Iran, if their military is depleted, how are they defending the Strait of Hormuz and giving permission to certain vessels? So we need deeper and more specific answers.
Right. I know he said that they don't want to give away their next play, their next game plan.
Hunters, where the true target is the truth of the gospel. Watch Twin Factor Wednesdays and weekends on theDove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove. Encouraging and informative. Helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on theDove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on theDove. Jerry Bilden's Happy Hour. Right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, indeed.
Happy hours.
Open your eyes and get happy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday as we head down Passion Week. That's why we have this beautiful background for us today as a subtle reminder. And today is Tuesday. So what did Jesus do on Tuesday, the week heading up to the crucifixion? If you remember yesterday, he cursed the fig tree.
Right. Yeah.
Today, the disciples react to the death of the fig tree from the previous morning as they walked by it and saw it completely dead.
Right.
What does that mean? Okay. And Jesus confounds the challenges of his authority and teaches in the temple area, and major groups of Jewish leaders got pretty upset and challenged him back. He was setting the stage for his own crucifixion. He knew what he was doing would bring about his death. So that's what happened on Tuesday. Yesterday was a pretty big day, so but today is Tuesday, and as we head down Passion Week, and then Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, and then Easter Sunday. All right, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. And anything special today?
Well, yesterday we celebrated the pencil.
The pencil.
Yeah, we talked pencil. We saw the world's largest pencil. We saw the whole deal. So now we're digressing. We're going back to crayons. It's National Crayon Day.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm sure kids, they still color with crayons, don't they? Yeah, I mean, I know that there are probably coloring apps and stuff on iPads and different devices, but I'm sure there are some kids out there. I would like to see Crayola sales and how that's gone through the years.
Well, you have 9 grandkids. You're supposed to teach them how to go home and take crayons and write on the walls.
I didn't have to teach them. All right. It's also National Prom Day. See how fast they grow up from crayons to prom.
Oh, yeah.
It goes that fast.
Yeah.
And it is that type of season. It's prom season, so there you go. Also, National Bunsen Burner Day. Remember Bunsen burners in your chemistry lab?
Chemistry lab.
Yeah, how about that?
That's the only reason you went there, so you can turn it on.
Turn it on. That's right. And it honors the birthday of German chemist Robert Wilhelm Eberhard von Brunsen.
Von Brunsen?
Von Brunsen? I didn't know he was a von.
Von Brunsen.
Yes. Standard laboratory equipment produces a single open gas flame and burns for heating, sterilization, and combustion. And, of course, kids like the combustion part. Let's make things blow up.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. It's also, we have a couple things to eat, National Tater Day.
Tater.
You like taters?
Was that like potatoes?
Yeah, that's potatoes. Yeah.
I like taters.
You know, I guess it's not enough to have a National Potato Day because we have that. Now they got to add in the taters to it, so you get tater tots.
Okay.
Yeah, you like tater tots?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. All right.
in a while.
Have them with clams on the half shell. Ooh. Because it is National Clams on the Half Shell Day. The best variety of hard shell clams for serving on the half shell is the top neck. But you'll also find recipes using little necks and cherry stone clams as well. The top necks run about 2 inches across, and the meaty clam is enough for a bite-sized morsel of Atlantic saltwater goodness. Clams on the half shell can be raw, steamed, grilled, or even smoked. And one popular on the half shell recipe originated in Rhode Island, often served as an appetizer, clams casino. Now this is good. It's a dish with toasted breadcrumbs and bacon.
Ooh.
Yes. The world's heaviest clam weighed 750 pounds, was found in Okinawa, Japan. The oldest known clam, named Ming, lived 500 years. And how do you know how old Ming was?
Yeah. How did you do that? You count the rings on the outside?
You got it. It's
Really?
just like a tree.
Really?
It's got rings. Yes,
Really?
absolutely. Counting the concentric rings on their shells, similar to tree rings, and old Ming, 500 years old.
Well.
How about that? I don't know. Do you think that...
Did they eat him?
Does the meat get... Yeah, it's like, hey, this clam's a little tough. I wonder how old it is.
Well, I don't know. You had to have a chainsaw to cut it.
Enjoy it. That's what we got.
All right.
All right.
That's pretty good stuff all the way around. All right, let's check out. Let's see. Did we start counting your rings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wait, let me show you.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cute.
I put that under my piece of paper there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got this great ski.
Yeah.
Yep, that's really cool.
That really is a cute deal.
Yeah. And I'm not quite sure. This is a boot that I'm missing.
That's the right boot.
It's a right boot, too.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for that. I appreciate it
That's
a
good.
lot. Yes.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's check out right boot Jerry weather.
Here's your forecast from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, a cool day with plenty of clouds and a chance of rain and even some snow showers with highs near 57 for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, partly sunny in mid-50s in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow and highs in the mid to upper 50s from Salem through Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the low to mid 40s. A chance of rain and snow this morning across central Oregon, then rain later with highs in the low to mid-50s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a chance of a thunderstorm and upper 50s. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers along the Oregon coast with daytime high temperatures near 57 for Coos Bay and low to mid-50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers with a high near 60 in Grants Pass and near 59 in Medford. Showers likely in Ashland with a high near 57 and over in Klamath Falls with a high near 56. For Northern California, a chance of showers around Wairika with a high near 60, rain likely in Redding with a high near 67 and Chico in the low 70s, a chance of rain in upper 60s in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog with a chance of rain in mid to upper 60s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain likely in San Francisco, mainly after 11 a.m. with a high near 67. And in San Jose, a chance of rain in upper 60s. It's your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
And there's a picture of our valley this morning. A little bit of moisture, low cloud, kind of a foggy moisture little thing there. And that'll give way to more showers, I guess, a little bit later on today.
Well, before we move on, I want to thank Floyd for my ski.
Yeah.
I was looking at it. Floyd sent me this.
Yeah.
I appreciate it a lot. It's an old-fashioned cable binding. That might have been my problem. If I had modern bindings, maybe I would
you have cable binding?
No.
I remember those.
I bet you do.
What was bad with them? You always got your gloves stuck in them. when you
Oh,
were putting
no.
them on.
Oh, really? It's clamping that down.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
Oh, yes. All right. So I love that. I'm going to I'm going to keep that.
Well, Floyd, that's a good reminder.
Yeah, it is a reminder, too. Thank you for that.
Pretty cool.
And speaking of which, during this Passion Week, for those who believe that Christ died and rose again, there lies a great hope that we can share with others. And here's Pastor Jack Graham with that.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that is, those who have died before us. I would not have you to be uninformed about those who are asleep, ignorant, brethren, concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you sorrow as those who have no hope. We sorrow. Our tears are real, but they are not hopeless tears. Our crying is not the cry of despair. It is the cry of hope. We do not sorrow as those who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them who sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we who are alive and remain shall not precede them which are asleep. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, and the voice of the archangel, and the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. And then we who are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so will we ever be with the Lord. But it doesn't end there. It says, therefore, comfort one another with these words. Comfort one another with the word of promise and a future with God. You know, when you come alongside people, you don't need to preach sermons or even quote a lot of verses. Just be there as a person of hope. Point people to Jesus and point people to heaven and love them.
That is great advice. Man.
I think in today's world, we feel compelled that we have to have the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing you can do when you get into a situation you don't know what to do, be quiet and ask questions. Just be there, ask questions, this is the Holy Week, and of course it started Sunday with the great triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Yesterday was Monday. That's when Jesus cursed the fig tree on his way to Jerusalem. He cleanses the temple and drives everybody out. I mean, he's really building his own case here. He heals and does many miracles and teaches on the temple grounds, which pretty upset a lot of people. And Jesus and the disciples then returned to Bethany. But the next morning, as they were leaving, the disciples, that would have been like today, Tuesday, they discovered how dead the tree was. In other words, it was all leaves and no fruit. All talk and no action.
Right.
That's basically what that is saying. And so that's where we are today. And then he ends up, his authority's challenged. And so he continues to teach in the temple grounds, and that continued to stir up, a lot of the Jewish leaders, and they were building their case to get him. So today, this week is really an important week for the life of the Christian. In fact, it's important as Christmas is, which seems to get more of attention.
And it's a huge celebration for us, but without Easter, without the resurrection, it's just another birthday.
Easter is the defining moment of Christianity. It's the resurrection of Jesus on Sunday is the issue that separates Christianity from all other religions. And I would hope that churches would take this seriously and everything. I have to mention this only because it just shows you how politicized everything has become, which is sad. Can't we just agree a little bit as Christians and get along? But this is quite an article in a local paper here describing one of the churches in our valley, and I won't name it because I just don't think it's worth naming. But they decided that they're going to display and honor the stations of the cross on Good Friday. There's 12 stations of the cross. And if you ever walk the Via Dolorosa in Jerusalem, which I have done, they take you to 12 stations. And it's very, very impacting, very meaningful. If you can imagine Jesus carrying the cross down the Via Dolorosa, those very narrow roads inside or streets inside the city. So this church has decided to turn the 12 stations of the cross into introspection around the church, and the themes include gun violence, social justice, immigration, and homelessness.
Uh-oh.
So, folks, I don't know what you do with stuff like that. I really don't. I don't know. I just can't the simplicity of the gospel be pure?
Yes.
Do we have to politicize everything, including the 12 stations of the cross?
Oh, that's too bad.
And anyway, I would hope that you would take this week and slow down and ask yourself, do you really know what this week's all about? Do you know why a lot of people have been praying and fasting for 40 days? It's Lent.
Yeah, good reminder.
Giving up things.
Yes.
All that culminates on Sunday, on the Resurrection Sunday. So take time to reflect on what today is really all about.
Yeah.
All right, or this week, I should say. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. And well, we'll see what happens. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said yesterday, quote, "The Strait of Hormuz will open one way or another."
Okay.
And warns Iran of real consequences. Even the president may talked about invading the island, perhaps maybe today, though he said we prefer diplomatic solutions, but the talks continue after Iran allowed 20 oil tankers to pass through the straits this past weekend. Now, which is interesting to me. I think there's more that we don't know here. We don't know the intelligence they know.
Okay.
We don't know where everything is. I mean, they're obviously looking at this. The president has the upper hand militarily, obviously.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So anyway, the goal now is to get the straits open and get the oil flowing. So in the meantime, Iran still lobs missiles out there, which is kind of interesting. And they, excuse me, they lobbed a missile and hit a U.S. Air Force E-3 airborne warning control plane that was sitting on the ground. Look at that.
Oh.
They hit it at a base on the ground. I don't know if they were aiming for it, but this got hit.
Okay.
That's a $300 million aircraft. Those are the ones that fly around way up high and have all the reconnaissance information in it, and have the radar and all that stuff.
Right.
See, there's one there.
Oh, yeah, it's got the radar dome on the top. Yes. Okay.
So they're flying around up there. So we lost that in the battle, but that was hit on the ground. Some people were injured, but no one was killed.
Nobody. Good.
So those kinds of things are happening. In the meantime, we don't know what Israel's up to because we don't hear their military briefings.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so the other thing that happened yesterday is the Senate decided, you know how long the Senate was in session yesterday?
How long?
Just about 28 seconds.
No way.
Open and closed. And they all took off for Easter week.
Of course. Yes,
Okay?
yes.
So the president is calling on the Senate to return to Washington and to pass the Department of Homeland Security shutdown, even though the president, by executive orders, is making sure that they get paid. Let me tell you why the Democrats are winning this issue.
Why?
People being polled are not blaming the Democrats.
Oh,
They're blaming Congress as a whole.
Right. Right.
They're not separating this between left and right, red and blue.
Okay.
They are they're blaming Congress as a whole for this. And the only thing I can say is Thune has shown some weakness here. And I think he painted himself into a corner. He is the senator who's now the majority leader of the Senate by coming up with the compromise bill. It goes over to the House. The House said no way. The president steps in with executive orders and starting to pay TSA and other people. That's got the Democrats totally upset. But the Democrats are the ones that have caused the shutdown. However, when polled, and especially people standing in line at an airport, they're blaming, excuse me, they're blaming Congress as a whole for this.
Okay.
So I think the president's right. I think they ought to all get their tail back into Washington and solve this problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stay there until it's done. Now, there was another piece of advice that came out. We know that if the government shut down and members of the government employees are not getting paid, Congress shouldn't get paid.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Here's another one.
Okay.
We've been shut down now about 45 days.
Okay.
The longest in the U.S. history.
All right.
It's our money. that goes to Washington that's not being used to do what we sent it to Washington to do.
Right.
Therefore, we should get a 45-day tax-free credit on our taxes.
Oh, I love this. Yes. Why not?
That could be 10%.
Oh, man.
Discount off the top of your taxes at the end of the year. This is a bill that will eventually make it to the floor sometime very soon.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
Not only should the lawmakers not get paid, especially the Republicans now, because they are part of the problem. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
You leave town. Lindsey Graham seen down at Disney World.
I saw a picture of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Come on. Get your tail back in your office and solve this problem. That's what we're paying you for.
Don't they realize the optics of what's going on here?
They should not get any perks.
Yeah.
They should not get their payroll check. And we Americans, because it's our money, we should get every day that Congress or some part of the government shut down, we should get that tax credit on our
One other thing
at the end of the year.
they shouldn't get. They shouldn't be able to jump the TSA lines.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one airline I think that's doing
Delta.
it. But yeah, Delta. So
Delta
they're all probably not flying Delta now. They're on other carriers because they get to skip the lines.
Yeah.
Put them back in line.
All right, so much for all that today. 18 minutes past the hour on this Tuesday. And what do we have? Clams in the show?
Oh, we got clams in the half shell and some taters on the side.
Well, that kind of goes together.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Taters and clams?
Yeah.
I like the idea with butter and bacon in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
What is it? It's oysters. Clams and oysters, too.
Yes, but that one that you're thinking about is the, what's it called? Clams Casino. I'll take Clams Casino all day long. That's the one with the breadcrumbs and bacon.
Over some angel hair pasta.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Say no more.
Okay. We'll be right back.
From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky, Lord, I lift your name on high.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
From the heart of our nation's capital, here's Family Research Council President Tony Perkins.
The House committee uncovered through the whistleblower that the FBI abused its counterterrorism tools to target Catholic Americans. Do we need to reevaluate what tools they have legal access to?
Yes, absolutely we do.
Washington Watch, 6 o'clock weekdays on the Dove TV.
Millions are struggling with life and their walk with God. Transformed is a groundbreaking series seen right here on the Dove TV that every week takes you behind closed doors to witness biblical counseling with real people facing real issues.
It was common to me to feel like I just wanted to escape.
It could be anxiety, depression, addictions, or other concerns. No issue is taken off the table.
To just get the pain out of my head and out of my heart.
The Bible has answers to life's problems. God's wisdom is better than man's. Lives are changed because God's hope is offered, not just treating the symptoms.
It's through the eyes of faith. Trusting what God says and being willing to obey what God says, even if it's not what you immediately feel.
Join Dr. Greg Gifford and see lives transformed from brokenness to wholeness. Mondays at 8:30 and Thursdays at 5, only on the Dove TV.
All right, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday as we head down Passion Week. So our neighbors to the south, the Republic of California down there.
Oh, those. Okay, yeah.
Republic of California.
Yeah. People's Republic.
It's really pretty interesting what's going on with the gubernatorial race. Now, you got to understand a little bit about California before I show you this clip from down there. They did a massive redistricting to turn a blue state more blue.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that, but they did.
gerrymandered a blue state bluer. Right.
For the sole purpose, because the way they run primaries is they will have a primary in May, and the two top people, no matter who's on there, so it's an open primary,
Okay.
the two top people will run for runoff in November.
Okay.
That's how they stack the Democratic deck.
Right.
Okay? So they figure if they make all the districts blue, they're going to get 14, 15 all blue candidates, and the top two will be the top two going into the race.
Yeah.
This may have backfired, finally.
Okay.
Our good friend Hansen, who is quite the, what can I say, academic, I guess we could say, and he said, this is really starting to backfire because Newsom has made such a mess of the state that the top 13 Democrats can't even get their own party's endorsement. None of them.
What?
Okay?
Yeah.
And who are the two top candidates at the top of the list going into the May primary?
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say.
We're starting to see something a little strange in California. As of right now, state polls show that to replace Gavin Newsom as governor in our jungle primary, the two leading contestants, Chad Bianco, a sheriff from Riverside County, and Steve Hilton, a former Fox commentator, entrepreneur, and naturalized U.S. citizen from Britain, are neck and neck. Hilton is at 17, Bianco is supposedly at 16, and then the next two candidates, 13 and 12, are Eric Swalwell, we know from the Fang notorious incident, and then Kathleen Porter. Democrats, remember, made this system because it's such a blue state. They would just swarm the ballot with viable Democrats, and the contending Democrats would be the first and second candidate on the general election ballot, and there wouldn't be any Republicans at all. This has kind of backfired.
It has totally backfired. And the question is, will Hilton and Bianco, I mean, they're only 1 point apart from right now. Either one of them would do well. I think Hilton, in the end, probably has a little bit more entrepreneurial understanding than the sheriff. But the sheriff has made himself really well known by going after the voter rolls and some of the voter registration down in his own backyard.
Okay.
So anyway, but the other 13 Democrats can't seem to make it to the top.
That is interesting. Well,
now, this guy, there is more stuff coming out of him.
Oh, he's bad news.
He's really not a good person. And then the gal that what's her name? I'll think of her name there. She has got a foul mouth unlike anything you've ever seen. I can't even imagine the Democrats putting somebody like that.
And you know
forward.
what? Not only incidents of being foul-mouthed, but foul-mouthed to her staff.
Yes.
I mean, she just berates them.
Yeah, she is. She's not a good person.
Not in the least. Yeah.
Okay. The other story that is kind of interesting: Arizona's governor said no to a highway being named after Charlie Kirk. It came through the legislature, got up to the desk, and the governor said, "Nope, there won't be one," and knocked it down.
That's too bad.
So it's too bad because that just shows you the bias in government.
Yeah.
You can't even honor somebody like this, you know. Hey, well, by the way, have you ever driven down roads and see the name after somebody? Some of them even been citizens, fallen highway patrol people, et cetera, et cetera. So they can't have the Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway.
Of which, we know that Cesar Chavez has fallen from grace.
Oh, big time.
There are a lot of things named after him.
Yeah.
Does that go next?
I think so. I think you can't. I mean, what they've uncovered with him was that
terrible.
Here he is, you know, head of the farm labor
union.
Yeah. But behind the scenes, he was not a good person.
Not at all. Yeah.
So, but the Democratic governor Katie Hobbs said she vetoed the bill and said no, there will not be. Loop 202 will not be named after Charlie Kirk. They're in the Phoenix area. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, that is sad. I'm sorry to hear.
It just shows you how. So you got churches doing the 12 Stations of the Cross, and
for social issues.
For social issues, and you got a bias here that can't even recognize somebody as popular as Charlie Kirk and saying no to him.
Yeah, and I should also add misguided social issues.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, clams and half shells with garlic.
Yeah.
You might be standing alone, but you'll be one happy person. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's happening out there. More rain coming.
How about that?
How about that?
Think we're going to get it?
Well,
it was threatening.
Let me ask Jerry, are we going to get it?
I don't know. It's threatening on the way in. You know, we don't have much going on today,
but tomorrow.
95% chance. So it's going to rain tomorrow and on Thursday, and then we're going to see some clearing. But it's going to dip down into the 50s tomorrow as well. So we're going to see low to mid 50s, and we need the rain, so we'll welcome it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We take it.
Sounds good. Well, this is interesting. Newsmax CEO Chris Ruddy sat down with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and he asked him about the Latin Patriarch Catholic Archbishop being denied to say Mass on Palm Sunday, and Netanyahu explains why.
Mr. Prime Minister, we already have some news here in Israel that during Palm Sunday, yesterday, here in Jerusalem at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Latin Patriarch, the Catholic Archbishop, was denied the ability to say Mass on Palm Sunday. What really happened?
Well, what happened was that the Iranians have been firing missiles at the old city of Jerusalem, where you have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the holiest places for Islam, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the holiest places for Christianity, and the Western Wall, which is the holiest place for Judaism. And the fragments nearly hit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So as a result, the Israeli security authorities said, okay, let's take out the worshipers right now because they'd be hurt. There's no protection there. And that was a general instruction that applied to the Jewish places, to the Muslim places, and to the Christian places. And that was the reason that a police officer on duty said, oh, okay, I'm applying it also to the Patriarch. Now, look, I think that wasn't, I can understand the concern for his safety, and that was the only concern. There was no malice here, no bad intention, unlike the press reports. But nevertheless, I said, despite this concern, I gave an instruction immediately, the minute I heard about it. No, he should be free, the Patriarch, to come with his party and perform services as he wishes. There's a risk there, and we're trying to minimize it. So I'm trying to get through the holiday season to try to get some worshipers to be able to worship in these sites, but in limited numbers, Jewish places as well, limit the numbers so that if we have an attack, as few as possible people would be hurt.
That makes sense.
Well, if you've ever been to Jerusalem, or excuse me, you ever go to Israel, and you go down where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is, and the minute you cross through that checkpoint, you go from something that's controlled by the Jews, and you get down into where it's controlled by the Muslims. It's sub-third world. And in the middle of this, you have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which it's one of the places, if you go to Israel, you go to this place and you look at it, and the history of it, and the layers of the floor through the years to see all that, the mosaic tile, and it's just beautiful. So when you got fragments hitting that, you don't want to be there.
Right.
And you got the potential. I remember years ago, do you remember when the Muslims poked their head over the Western Wall there and threw rocks and stuff down on the Jews worshiping? And nothing came of that because on top of that is the Dome of the Rock.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so confusing. You go there and you go, wow, how do these people possibly coexist?
Right, because everything's so close.
It is so close. And you go there and you go, how does this happen? I wasn't in Israel, I don't think 10 hours. And I realized that this place will never see true peace until Jesus returns. It just won't happen because of the tension there. So anyway, I think all of this, like the Prime Minister said there, is primarily security issues. You have to do that.
Speaking of security issues, obviously this is the time of year where I would imagine there is a big influx of faithful, of Christians going into the Holy Land and seeing some of these sites. Is that still going on? Is there tourism going on? What's happening?
People are still going there.
Okay.
I think Friday you will see the traditional people carrying crosses.
Okay.
At least walking the Via Dolorosa on Friday.
Okay.
I think you'll see that.
Okay.
That's very traditional thing. And I think you'll continue to see that. So it's just an amazing place. It's mind-boggling. When you walk the wall of the old city and you go around and you're looking down on the old city, and over here you have a Jewish community, you have a Russian community, you have an Islamic community. I mean, it's just amazing. And by the way, let me just say that most of the holy sites that Christians go to visit are controlled either by the Orthodox, the Catholics, and the main one, which is the Garden Tomb, is controlled by the Brits.
Oh, okay.
So you got to understand that most of these sites, if it wasn't for the Catholics and the Orthodox getting in there and securing those sites, they wouldn't be there for people to go see them. So it's a melting pot, and you go there and you realize God's a whole lot bigger than we are. You know, pretty amazing. All right, and Jericho, if you go to Jericho, it's controlled by the Muslims, and you're allowed to go through a little gate no bigger than that door over there.
Okay.
You go through this hole in the gate in the wall, and you can go in there and you can walk around a little bit in Jericho and see where the walls fell down and then come back out. All that's controlled by Muslims.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just, or the Palestinians, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, right.
But you kind of go, oh, my stars, how in the world these? And then you're living with bombs coming over your head or missiles, and then you have to get your kids up in the middle of the night and go to a bomb shelter. We're over here, you know, we went to bed last night with some rain on our roof.
Good point. Yeah, what a difference.
What a difference.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so it just, everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Experience evangelism like never before.
It's not about finding ourselves. It's not about being true to ourselves. It's about being born again.
Way of the Master's dynamic co-host team delivers captivating witnessing encounters.
That makes you feel uncomfortable because you're doing things you know you shouldn't. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Bold street witnessing that will leave you inspired and equipped to share your faith. Watch Way of the Master Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 5 on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. At 24 minutes before the hour, let's check in with CBN News and get the latest from Israel this morning.
President Trump told the Financial Times Sunday, "I want to take control of Iranian oil, maybe take control of Karg Island. That means we will need to be on Karg for a while. I don't think the Iranians have any defense there. We will take the island very easily." Iran exports most of its oil from Karg Island. It's Iran's main economic engine. CENTCOM announced the amphibious assault ship, the USS Tripoli, has arrived in its area of responsibility. The 3,500 U.S. Marines on board are trained as a rapid response strike force. Iran's parliament speaker warned the U.S. against the ground invasion and threatened to set American troops on fire. He also warned Iran will increase its attacks on U.S. allies in the region. And President Trump is weighing a military operation to extract nearly 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. According to U.S. officials, that would be a complex and risky mission that would likely put American forces inside the country for days or longer. The president told reporters military action and negotiations are taking place at the same time.
But they're very good, moving along very nicely. And they've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone, we know that. But we destroyed many, many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly.
Trump also said he believes a measure of regime change has already taken place.
You look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed. They're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change.
Over the weekend, exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi delivered an address in Texas.
Can you imagine Iran going from death to America to God bless America?
Speaking to the Conservative Political Action Committee, Pahlavi spoke of a brighter possible future for Iran.
In a country with the fastest rate of growth of Christianity in the world, the regime and its IRGC storm into and ransack underground house churches, detain and torture pastors, and persecute and execute evangelists and Christian converts. This is the Islamic Republic, not the true Iran.
For now, the current leader of Iran is thanking top religious leaders and paramilitary groups in Iraq for their support. And the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is warning U.S. citizens to leave the country immediately amid the threats from militias backed by Iran. In the meantime, Tehran's mayor sees the war advancing the goals of Shiite Islam.
All the American predictions have gone to ruin. Therefore, I believe that post-war Iran will be at such an exalted peak that it will prepare humanity for the coming of Mahdi.
The Mahdi is the Islamic messianic figure who they believe will appear at the end of time. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
The President of the United States, Donald Trump, just posted something quite incredible on Truth Social for Palm Sunday. It's a small letter from Franklin Graham. So, Billy, let me read you just a couple lines. Quote, "You can't save yourself. I can't save myself. Good works, prominence, success, none of these get us to heaven. The only way to heaven is through the shed blood of Jesus Christ." Billy, what do you think about this post?
I mean, this is fascinating to me because there are a lot of people who wouldn't spend the time, let's say, because they'd be afraid of losing power or prestige. And it's interesting, this letter was sent October 15th, 2025, and it's being shared months later. So there's a couple of things happening here. On one end, this must have meant something to Trump because he kept it and decided to share it now, right? The assumption is this was delivered to him in October, and here we are in March, and this is being shared. There's that. And then I think the other piece of it from Franklin Graham's perspective, he's delivering the gospel here. And he was saying, obviously, in this letter, and I'm looking at it too, just like you were, he was referencing when Trump commented in the media that he might not be heaven bound. We talked about this numerous times, you and I here at CBN. He said, maybe you responded in jest, but it is an important issue to know for certain that your soul is secure and you will spend eternity in the presence of God. He's making it very clear. This is what matters. You have to accept Jesus. Eternity is dependent on that. And he spends the bulk of the letter explaining that and then quoting Romans 10:9. And he said, you continue to be in our prayers. So I think from Franklin Graham's perspective, this is pretty noteworthy and notable that he be willing to put that time into, instead of just seeking power and prestige, to actually say, wait a minute, you made a comment about this. Let me explain to you how you can be certain that you can go to heaven, how you can be certain, whether you were joking or not, this is what matters most. And so I got to give a lot of credit to Franklin Graham for sending that letter, because at the end of the day, whether you are a president, a normal person, it doesn't matter. You're a human being. And when you die, you face the same judgment as everyone else. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And this is the most important message anybody could ever hear.
Regardless of what you think about Donald Trump, The President of the United States of America, the most influential, consequential person on planet Earth, just shared a very raw, unfiltered gospel message to the world.
Okay, and as controversial as that is, people don't believe it.
Oh, really?
So I think what's so interesting to me is that somehow we have been polluted so much in our minds now through politics that we can't see things for what they are. We just can't.
Right.
And it's really sad.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, Rick Boy and I talked yesterday a lot.
Yeah.
I had a guest on yesterday. We got into this whole issue of Christian Zionism, which is interesting. It's a deep subject, and I don't want to get into it here. But here's the bottom line. If we believe that this week, Passion Week, emphasizes the price that was paid for our eternal life, and we take time to ponder every moment of this week, okay, you got to step back and realize God is the judge of hearts and character, not us. Right. A lot of people don't display Christianity the way we like it to be, and we're quick to judge that somehow they must not be true. Okay? Look at your own heart.
Okay. Okay.
You know, just remember, iniquity is concealed sin. That's what iniquity is.
Okay.
Okay. And we all deal with it. And you got to realize that it's easy to criticize the other guy when you got four other fingers pointing back at you. So think about that. All right, so much for all that lesson. Where did that go? It went nowhere except for the weather. That goes everywhere, and here it is.
Here's your forecast from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, a cool day with plenty of clouds and a chance of rain and even some snow showers with highs near 57 for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, partly sunny in mid-50s in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow and highs in the mid to upper 50s from Salem through Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the low to mid 40s. A chance of rain and snow this morning across central Oregon, then rain later with highs in the low to mid 50s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a chance of a thunderstorm and upper 50s. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers along the Oregon coast with daytime high temperatures near 57 for Coos Bay and low to mid-50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers with a high near 60 in Grants Pass and near 59 in Medford. Showers likely in Ashland with a high near 57 and over in Klamath Falls with a high near 56. For Northern California, a chance of showers around Wairika with a high near 60, rain likely in Redding with a high near 67, and Chico in the low 70s, a chance of rain in upper 60s in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog with a chance of rain in mid to upper 60s for Santa Rosa and Napa, rain likely in San Francisco, mainly after 11 a.m. with a high near 67, and in San Jose, a chance of rain in upper 60s. It's your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of our valley, a little bit of a cloud out there, some high clouds over the top. So, hey, kind of a leftover winter.
Yeah.
Kind of going on out there.
Well, it was controversial, but it was on this day in history that one of the most recognizable landmarks officially rose above the Paris skyline. On March 31st, 1889, the Eiffel Tower was dedicated in Paris, led by its designer, Gustave Eiffel. Built to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution, the Iron Tower stood nearly 1,000 feet tall, making it the tallest man-made structure in the world at the time. But not everyone was impressed. Critics called it an eyesore, and some Parisians wanted it torn down. Still, Eiffel pushed forward, finishing the project in just 2 years, under budget, and with remarkably few accidents. In fact, on opening day, the elevators weren't even ready, so Eiffel climbed the stairs himself to raise the French flag at the top. Originally meant to stand for just 20 years, the tower was nearly demolished in 1909 until its value as a radio antenna saved it. Today, it's one of the most visited landmarks on Earth.
From controversy to radio antenna to global icon, the Eiffel Tower proves first impressions don't always last.
The only reason it's there still is because of radio.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Our affiliate in the UK had a chance to put a radio station on top of the Eiffel Tower.
No kidding.
Yes. And so I'm sitting on the board there. We're trying our best. We're finagling. And all of a sudden, guess who shut it down?
Who?
The French government.
Why?
Christian.
No way. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No. I mean, no. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So we never could do the project. It was going to be a little on the expensive side. But the reason you wanted to be up there was for the very reason they said, and that was because it was high enough to just cover the whole area. Covered the whole area.
Yes. And again, that was its saving grace. That's the only reason it survived.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Do you remember when Roosevelt prayed for the troops?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we kind of had a repeat of that with our Secretary of War praying for the men and women who are serving in the Persian Gulf. And here's a little bit of that this morning.
Dear gracious God, I need you. Now more than ever before, I need you, for I realize how great is my task and how meager are my resources. Give me wisdom, I pray. When demands press in on every side, give me accurate eyes that can separate the important from the urgent, the fundamental from the incidental. Give me wisdom, I pray. When I ache for my soldiers' friendship, give me courage to earn their respect and obedience. Give me wisdom, I pray. When time and task pull in different directions, grant me clarity to see the way and peace to calm those around me. Give me wisdom, I pray. When decisions are demanded, may my walk match my talk. Remind me daily that the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my authority is tested, show me when to raise my voice and when to lower it, when to use the carrot and when to use the stick. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my time is done, may I be remembered as a leader who encouraged, not discouraged, as a man who built people up, not tore them down. Give me wisdom, I pray. When in victory, keep me humble. When in defeat, keep me from despair. Compensate my weaknesses, accentuate my strengths, mold me into the man you want me to be. Give me wisdom, I pray. And most of all, please keep my soldiers safe. Lead them, guide them, protect them, watch over them. And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me to give all of myself for them. And it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Wow.
I can't imagine Secretary Hagstead, President Trump, and Chief of Staff, not Chief of Staff, Joint Chiefs of Staff, the General, what they may be weighing in their mind not only is military strategy, but the consideration of humans being involved at a more direct level. I just can't even imagine the pressure of that, you know, because at the end of the day, your decision could mean their life. So,
what a prayer that was.
Yeah, powerful prayer. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
My Savior loves, my Savior lives, my Savior's always there for me. My God, He was, my God, He is, my God is always gonna be.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Come on, Steve.
All right, welcome back. Well, I don't know if you've been following CPAC 2026. It's been going on, and Franklin Graham spoke there, which is interesting. And he spoke about the president, and here's a little clip of Franklin Graham at CPAC.
Thank God for President Trump. He sent our military into Venezuela and to capture the evil dictator Maduro and his corrupt wife and brought them back to the United States for justice. President Trump has put Cuba and the cartels in Mexico, he's put them on notice. And the world has learned that when President Trump speaks, you had better listen. And I think they are. I'm 73 years old. No president in my lifetime has done what President Trump has done, okay? We will never have another president like him. And I believe God has raised him up for a time such as this, like Queen Esther. Our grandchildren will have a safer future because of his leadership and his policies. My children's children will have a better life because of these policies. Here are a few examples of policies that I appreciate as a Christian. President Trump appointed on the judicial benches conservative judges, and Roe v. Wade was overturned. I never thought it'd be overturned in my lifetime. But it's because of President Trump. He supports religious freedom like no other president in my lifetime. Oh, presidents have talked about it, but haven't done anything. He talks about it, and then he does something about it. I was with him in 2019 at the United Nations when he spoke to the entire United Nations about religious freedom, encouraging the world to honor those of people of faith. Not just the Christian faith, but to honor people of faith and protect them. No president's ever done that. No one. And I thank God for him.
Well said.
Well, he went on and on and on, and he did make a little bit of a slip, and they had to come back and correct it.
What?
About re-electing him again.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that was, the pressure of the moment. But, anyway, it's pretty amazing. And you think about what Franklin has lived through with his dad in presidents.
Right.
And now him.
Yes, and especially his dad. He was the pastor to all the presidents.
Oh, he was America's pastor.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Romans 5:5. Take this with you today as you head out on the day. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Here's a question. Do you know for sure that the Holy Spirit is living inside of you?
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com. When technology slows you down, your business and your life feels it. That's where Rogue Tech Pros comes in. We provide business technology services, managed IT services, and custom phone systems for businesses and homes. Our award-winning team takes time to understand your unique needs and builds a customized plan to keep your systems running smoothly so you can focus on growing your business while we handle the IT headaches. Find us at RogueTechPros.com. RogueTechPros.com. We keep IT simple.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Chico and the North State. Seen on KKRM 11, Channel 21, and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Here it is Tuesday as we head down Passion Week. This is Tuesday, and that is Jerry. And he's still looking for hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
It's good to be here, though. Thanks.
There you go. Anyway, a lot going on in the news. There always is. But this is Passion Week, and we don't want you to forget what that really represents. We'll talk about that a little bit. Thereby, we have a special background today that's just a little bit of a reminder of what this week is all about. So we'll be talking about that. A little bit of a change in the weather, which is kind of interesting. We were hoping for this about 3 months ago. But we'll get that. Anyway, good morning to you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No.
This reminds me with the cross here. On my way into work every morning, there are some homeowners who live up in the hills.
Yeah.
You know, we come down through the valley and we're surrounded by the hills. And there are 3 different prominent places that homeowners have put crosses up on a hill and illuminated them.
Yes.
And I see 3 of them every morning, and I look at them every morning. It's a great reminder.
It is, and there's a big one down on, you can see it on I-5 down around Talent somewhere.
Oh,
Phoenix Talent area.
Yes.
There's one up on the side of the hill there.
I love
so
it.
Very dominant. So anyway, just a subtle reminder of what this week is about, and we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Well, guess
got-
what?
What?
Yesterday was National Pencil Day.
Yeah.
We looked at, and I mentioned
Pencil neck?
I was hoping nobody would do that, would call me pencil neck.
No,
but
no.
anyway, we saw the world's largest pencil and everything. Well, today is a little different. Today's National Crayon Day. So do kids still use crayons, or is everything digital? Are they now coloring on screens with their fingers? And then I imagine you can do that. In fact, you can. I know you can even do it in Word documents.
Yeah, you know, when they had Play-Doh and you used to chew on it because it tasted good. Kids automatically thought they could choose on their Crayola.
Chewing on Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And it was healthy though, right?
Well, you know, we lived through it, but then they went to Crayola, but it didn't have quite the same flavor.
That's right. That's right. A little waxy, huh?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
So what you do is you give all your grandkids some Crayolas and you send them home, tell them to draw on the white wall.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, payback.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's also National Prom Day. And of course, see how fast they grow up. They go from crayons to the prom, and it seems like it's just like that.
Yeah.
But it is prom season, so enjoy that. Also National Bunsen Burner Day, honoring the birthday of German chemist Robert Wilhelm Eberhard von Brunsen.
Von Brunsen.
Von Brunsen. How about that?
Von Brunsen.
Of course, the Bunsen burner, standard laboratory equipment. You want to make things combust? Get a Bunsen burner. It'll happen. Also, National Tater Day. You like taters?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. What? Do you have any favorite kind of tater? Baked?
I like a baked potato.
Yeah, I do too. You know, what's there not to like about baked?
I like mashed.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, eat baked potatoes, you eat the skins?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That's where the vitamin C is.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Enjoy your taters and have them with that.
Tastes better if you wash them, though.
Something about that. Yeah. Yes. And enjoy it with a clam on the half shell because it's clams on the half shell day. Best variety of hard shell clams for serving on the half shell is top neck clams. But you can also find recipes using little necks and cherry stones.
Yeah.
But top necks run about 2 inches across. And the meaty clam is just enough for a bite-sized morsel. And clams on the half shell can be raw, steamed, grilled, and I like this, even smoked. And of course, one popular on the half shell recipe originated in Rhode Island. It's served as an appetizer, and it's called Clams Casino. It's a dish with toasted breadcrumbs and bacon in the clams on the half shell. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, they can be used for chowders, linguine, or even as bait for fishing.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Last.
Yes. And of course, the world's heaviest clam weighed about 750 pounds. It was found in Japan. The oldest known clam, nicknamed Ming, lived nearly 500 years, making it one of the longest living marine animals. So how do you determine the age of a clam?
Well, I just wondered, each clamshell has rings on it.
That's it. You got it, just like a tree.
Really?
Yep. So you just count the concentric rings on their shells, similar to tree rings, and that baby, Ming, had just about 500 of them.
Did they eat Ming?
And if they did eat Ming, was Ming at just about 500 years old? Was Ming a little tough?
Well, they had to have a chainsaw to cut him out of there, I guess. Gosh. Ming.
Enjoy your clams on the half shell, because that's all I got.
Okay,
All right.
well, here's Pan's little Ming.
Here's your forecast from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, a cool day with plenty of clouds and a chance of rain and even some snow showers with highs near 57 for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, partly sunny in mid-50s in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow and highs in the mid to upper 50s from Salem through Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the low to mid 40s. A chance of rain and snow this morning across central Oregon, then rain later with highs in the low to mid 50s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a chance of a thunderstorm and upper 50s. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers along the Oregon coast with daytime high temperatures near 57 for Coos Bay and low to mid 50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers with a high near 60 in Grants Pass and near 59 in Medford. Showers likely in Ashland with a high near 57 and over in Klamath Falls with a high near 56. For Northern California, a chance of showers around Wairika with a high near 60, rain likely in Redding with a high near 67, and Chico in the low 70s, a chance of rain in upper 60s in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog with a chance of rain in mid to upper 60s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain likely in San Francisco, mainly after 11 a.m. with a high near 67. And in San Jose, a chance of rain in upper 60s. It's your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Picture of our valley, high clouds and some low clouds kind of mixed in right at the surface there a little bit, but that'll go away quickly. And then in the meantime, we got rain, so
yeah,
we'll see how it develops.
Pretty nice out there, though.
Yep.
Pastor Jack Graham is here, and he describes how God, the God of all comfort, will use you to comfort others.
But it is in grief, whatever grief. Remember, there are different kinds of grief. It may be death, it may be the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, the loss of a marriage, whatever your grief is ultimately comforted in the comfort that God gives us, the hope of heaven. And one day, He's going to wipe away all tears from our eyes. But until then, and the last thing is this, God uses your heartbreak to help others. God's going to wipe away our tears. But until then, God will use your hurt and your hands to wipe away people's tears, to weep with those who weep, to grieve with those who grieve, to be present when people are alone and feeling so lost and so lonely. No one should ever feel alone. They should know God's presence and your presence, our presence. And so what God does is He takes our tears, and yes, He turns them into telescopes so that we can see God more clearly, but He turns them into testimonies. And our tears testify that even in pain and sorrow and grief, that we are comforted and we are blessed. So we praise God through the pain. He starts the whole thing by saying, "Blessed be God, praise be to God the Father of mercy, the God of all comfort."
Amen. Yep.
I've always said, whatever God saves you from or brings you through, He turns around and makes you a minister to. And let us not forget what this week is all about. Sunday was the triumphal entry. That was Palm Sunday. Yesterday was the day that Jesus curses the fig tree on His way into Jerusalem. He cleanses the temple. That was yesterday. He heals many and does a lot of miracles inside the temple. And then the next day, which would be today, the Tuesday, as they were leaving, the disciples walked past that dead fig tree and realized what happened here. And it was a tree that was all leaves and no fruit. It's like all talk and no action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that his authority is challenged today when he was teaching, and he would go into the temple grounds and teach anyway. Basically, he was building his own case for them to crucify Him. And so remember, this is a very holy week. We're heading towards Maundy Thursday, which is the upper room. Following that came the betrayal of all 12, walked away from Him. Good Friday is
Good Friday.
And then Resurrection Sunday. You mentioned earlier, will people still go to Jerusalem this time of the year? Yes.
Okay.
In spite of what's going on in the Middle East, there's a lot of people there, and I think you'll see the walk through the Via Dolorosa there in Jerusalem, which will go to what they call the 12 points of the cross. So there's a lot going on inside Jerusalem with the Christian faith. And I would hope that we would take this very seriously. This is the dividing issue of all religions. Christianity is set apart because of Resurrection Sunday.
Absolutely, and you know, that's key. We did a song on Sunday because I think sometimes people are confused about the label Good Friday. We did a song that says Friday's good because Sunday's coming.
Yeah. Who was it that preached that message? It is Friday, but Sunday's coming. It was
oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's one of the black preachers preached it, and only they do it in that way.
All right.
All right. And I'm sad to report there's churches that see it another way. We have one in our own backyard here that is taking the 12 stations of the cross and fostering what they call introspection around the church. And at these various 12 stages of the cross. Now, where are the 12 stages? Just look at the cross. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. All right. Those are the 12 stages. And if you ever go through the Via del, I walked it, but not in a parade like that. But we walked it, and at each point they tell you what that all meant, you know. But this church will trivialize it and turn it into gun violence, social issues, immigration, homelessness, and a big portion of their 12 points of the cross will be a memorial to George Floyd.
Oh, that's sad to hear. And you know what else is sad about this, Perry? We have some vibrant, strong, great Christian churches in the Valley.
Yes.
Why did this paper decide to highlight this one?
Great point. I don't know, but it's very sad to see that. Let me tell you, folks, the good news is people are coming to Christ in spite of what the news is telling you.
Yes.
In spite of what the legacy media is trying to tell you. There is a revival going on in America. There's one going on in the UK and Europe right now. There's one already that's underground that's huge inside Iran. And you can go around the world.
China.
God is moving in spite of all this baloney that you're seeing here.
Yes.
The true God is moving, and people are coming to the true God. And that's my message, and I'm sticking to it. And we will go to the headlines.
Okay. I thought we were going to pass a plate. Okay.
I sat next to him. I have to tell you that I'm sitting in church Sunday before it started, and a good friend of mine, I won't mention his name, but he's a former pastor here in the Valley for years. And when I first came in the Valley in '83, he's one of the guys that really was nice to me.
All right.
So he's retired now. And I came up and I sat next to him and I said, Pastor Jim, he goes, yeah. And I said, you know what's cool about this? And he goes, what? And I said, you don't have to preach and I don't have to take the offering.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. The president is floating the whole idea of a siege on Iran's stronghold and going after its grip on the Strait of Hormuz. That little island out there.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Iran's?
Yeah, what is that?
Kharg.
Yeah, we've been hearing about it. Yep.
Karg? I'm sure.
Let me see it.
I'm mispronouncing that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Karg. Yeah, Karg.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're looking at taking this island. We don't know. But in the meantime, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is saying the Straits of Hormuz will open one way or another, in spite of the fact that they let a few ships through, about 20 through over the weekend. I can't help but think that they're strategizing on this, especially with the 50,000 people they have sitting on ships offshore. Something bigger than we think of is underway. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, what few missiles that Iran has left, they're lobbing them all over the place and turning even their neighbors into enemies.
Yeah.
But they did lob one into a military base there where the United States Air Force had an E-3 Sentry airborne warning control airplane. Look at this. Hit it on the ground. Okay. That is a $300 million aircraft. These are the ones that fly above everything. They're like the great control tower in the sky. And they're way up there. They have the big radar dome up on top.
Yeah. Yep.
They fly around. And they're basically in control of everything. Okay, that you wonder on who's got the 30,000-foot view. These guys got a 45, 50,000-foot view.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And they're now, excuse me, one of those was taken out. So.
And nobody killed or injured in it?
No, a few injured.
Okay.
I don't know how bad, but but nobody was killed. Yesterday, the president kind of got on the Senate and said, get your tails back in town and pass this Homeland Security bill, even though by executive order he ordered TSA to be paid. That upset the Democrats. The U.S. Senate was in session, I think, 28 seconds yesterday. They opened and then closed for the Easter recess.
It'd be nice to go to work for about 28 seconds one day.
I really think, look, I understand Easter vacation. I really get that. But this thing has gone on too far. And let me tell you why the Democrats are winning this.
Why?
Because when people are polled standing in line for hours at a TSA waiting to get through to get on an airplane, they're complaining Congress. They're not separating the D's and the R's, the reds and the blues.
Yeah.
So everybody's taking a hit for this. This is really stupid. It really is. And not only should the Congress go without pay, which I think that bill needs to get pushed through. If they're going to shut it down and you're not going to pay somebody, you shouldn't get pay either. That has to be. But the other one that popped up yesterday was for every day that government is shut down for whatever reason, the taxpayers, who are the financial arm of the government, should get a tax-free day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So we've been shut down. We're going into 45 days.
Why not?
You could take 45 days of your income and take it right off your taxes, and that should be allowed. That's a great idea, and I hope it finds its way.
So too.
Yeah.
Let's back up to the polling situation. You're talking about Democrats winning. I know that the Democrats are defining this as a battle between them and Trump.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the general population is blaming Congress as a whole, is there any good news in that for Trump?
No.
No? Why?
No. Well, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, that's why he decided to step up and use executive order to pay him so he could turn that scenario around. Here's the question that he's being blamed with. If you had that power, why didn't you exercise it before this?
Oh, you need to ask, huh?
Yeah. So, look, all of Congress should get their,
Fannies.
what's kicked on this one.
Yeah.
Because
we can say Fannie, can't we?
Fannie?
Yeah, okay.
I thought it was a mortgage company. Well, that's Fannie Mae. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, anyway, the only thing I could say is, look, this is raw, ugly, partisan politics. And it's costing a lot of people their livelihoods.
Yeah.
Some are going broke.
Yeah.
Some are losing their houses. Some are sleeping in their cars. Some had to quit and get another job.
Right.
This is ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah.
And the whole everybody should be blamed for this. Now, granted, it was started by the Democrats. I get that. But the average guy that's losing his job, he could care less. You're all blamed for it.
Yeah.
So I think that the lawmakers should go without pay. And the revenue source to the U.S. government, which was us, the taxpayers, we should get a tax-free day for every day they're shut down.
And they get in all the same TSA lines as everybody else that's getting on an airplane.
Yes.
Period.
How's that for a rant this morning?
Yeah, man.
Okay, man. Okay, man.
That was pretty
We're going to have some half-shell clams. We'll be right back, man.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Once again, our very own Dove TV was recognized for excellence by the National Religious Broadcasters with the prestigious Station of the Year Award for 2026.
And this year's recipient of TV Station of the Year Award is theDove TV.
This makes 9 times the Dove has been honored by our peers with this celebrated national award. We're grateful, and another reason to stay encouraged and informed by watching and supporting theDove TV.
All right, right, welcome back. 21 minutes past the hour. Of course, down our neighbors to the south here, California. Interesting place.
Yeah.
You know, I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
But it's gone crazy. And Governor Newsom is leaving the state in an amazing disarray, unlike anything we've ever seen a state left.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one that could possibly be worse would be Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Governor Walz up there.
Yeah. Pritzker in Illinois, Walz in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Get all those guys.
But it's easy to lump Illinois in with Minnesota. They got their own problems.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
I'm sorry. Well, Illinois got the governor or the mayor.
Mayor and the governor. I mean, they're twofold. Yeah.
Anyway, California has this crazy system with an open primary that at the end of the day, the top 2 candidates will run off in December or in November. Here's the problem. As you know, Governor Newsom pushed through a gerrymandering package to take a blue state and make it more blue, to ensure that whoever gets on the ballot, that most likely would be a Democrat, would be a Democratic follow-up to him.
Yes.
The problem is that he's messed up the state so bad that even the Democrats now are having a hard time living there, and the liberals. The fires, the economy, the bridge to the rail to nowhere.
Yes.
And the list goes on and on and on. Well, the top 2 could be Republicans. Wow. Victor Hansen, who's really quite the academic, quite the spokesman, quite the historian, he comments on this, and here's what he had to say.
We're starting to see something a little strange in California. As of right now, state polls show that to replace Gavin Newsom as governor in our jungle primary, the 2 leading contestants, Chad Bianco, a sheriff from Riverside County, and Steve Hilton, a former Fox commentator, entrepreneur, and naturalized U.S. citizen from Britain, are neck and neck. Hilton is at 17, Bianco is supposedly at 16, and then the next 2 candidates, 13 and 12, are Eric Swalwell, we know from the Fang notorious incident, and then Kathleen Porter. Democrats, remember, made this system because it's such a blue state. They would just swarm the ballot with viable Democrats, and the contending Democrats would be the first and second candidate on the general election ballot, and there wouldn't be any Republicans at all. This is kind of backfired.
And it could be you got Hilton and Bianco. So the only thing I can say is they're only a point apart. They got a lot of campaigning to go between now, and who knows how that'll come out. But of the 13 Democrats that are on the ballot, not one of them got the endorsement from the state's Democratic Party.
That is bizarre.
That shows how divided they are.
Well, is the party just waiting to see how the dust settles and who rises?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's running for politics today in a blue state like that. You don't run for the betterment of the country or the party. You don't run for the betterment of the people within the state. You run for the job.
Oh.
And the perks.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Okay. So it may be catching up with them. California is, any given moment, I was read, now I don't know if this is totally true, but it comes from reliable sources, is 48 days away from bankruptcy at any given moment.
With that in mind, Perry.
That's how tight their budget is.
With that in mind, how do you run for governor as a Democrat? Do you run saying, Gavin Newsom's policies have been great, we're going to continue, with the same kind of a process here, or do you move away from him?
Well, I think
what
that's
do you suggest?
You're asking the wrong guy. I mean, you run so far from him.
Yeah.
All right, and you hope that he does become the nominee on the Democratic side for president, because there's so much stuff that you can use to throw at him against him. You're going to show a state that's bankrupt. You're going to show a state where the federal government's going to have to step in and pull off the Olympics. You're going to show a state that where most of the people that lost their homes during the fire are not even allowed in the block to sweep up ashes.
Right.
And the list goes on and on and on.
So how does a Democrat running for governor handle that? How do they portray it?
Well, see, that's the problem. They can't, because they voted for that nonsense.
Exactly.
So it's time. You remember when Ronald Reagan and I was working for Channel 3 at the time.
Okay.
when he became governor, and he would come into our station all the time. And the California was, again, in a state like it was now, not as bad, but the similarities of the condition of California at the time that Reagan got elected are kind of like what it is now. It was upside down financially, it was all, but it didn't have all the nonsense that it has now.
Right.
By the way, wait till they pull the covers off the fraud in California as it relates to welfare and COVID and all that stuff.
Right.
It'll make Minnesota look like nothing. Minnesota's $9 billion.
Yeah.
They think it could be as high as $40 billion in California of fraud. That's an estimate, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, so much for all that nonsense.
Okay.
It is nonsense. It's only about 21 miles down the road here. You go from not so bad to terrible.
Fill up before you head down.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the other one is, this is kind of sad, politics being what it is. There will be no Charlie Kirk Highway in the state of Arizona. Why politics? The governor yesterday vetoed the bill. Katie Hobbs said no to sections of the what they call the 202 Loop Highway in the hometown of Charlie Kirk in Phoenix, Arizona? No. The governor vetoed it.
Oh,
Isn't that sad?
That is very sad.
Gosh, politics and everything. Even in the 12 points of the cross.
Yeah. Yes.
Gosh,
yes.
Makes you want to throw up and have some clams.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
All right. Where are we? Oh, we've got to take a look at Wall Street real quick. Thank you, Preston. He's a cool dude. When I grew up, I want to be like Preston. He's got smart line. All right, Dow's up. Whoa, 653 points.
What's going on?
The Nas is up 436, and the S&P up 107. I think it's because they've had enough of the nonsense of the straight, and they're going to do something about it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hope that
maybe.
is the case.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Gold's at 46.30, silver's at 33, and crude oil has dumped to 106.
I'm rushing out. Yeah. Let me go
Rush out.
Yeah,
That's going to save you about a penny.
I'm go get a coffee can's worth.
There you go. You know what? I will say one thing that's so funny about this. Electric car sales are through the roof.
Oh. Electric car sales are right now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But that won't last long.
Yeah,
because you're not getting any credits for it anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we keep seeing all of these wealth taxes rolling out, and there seems to be a little bit of a migration going on in certain parts of the country, because of it. Well, economist Steve Moore spoke with Fox Business's Stuart Varney about a new wealth tax that he says will make everyone poor.
Yeah, it's a suck it to the rich agenda by the Democrats. They've tried that at the state level, Stuart. They've tried that in New York. They've tried it in California. They've tried it in New Jersey, my home state of Illinois, and it's been a complete failure. If you go to votewithyourfeet.net, by the way, you can see we put up all of the data on where people are moving to, from, how much money they're taking with them. The blue states are being bled to death as all these wealthy people are moving to states like Florida and Texas and Arizona and Utah. And so now the next brainchild of these folks is to have a national wealth tax. So it doesn't matter where you live, they're going to tax you. Now, there have been many European countries and other nations who have tried these. It's always failed. And every country, virtually every country that has tried a wealth tax, Stuart, has repealed it because it's counterproductive. Now, one other quick thing that you forgot to mention, Stuart, which is that under the Elizabeth Warren plan, if you try to leave the country, she wants to impose a 40% exit tax on you. In other words, they want to build essentially a financial Berlin Wall so you can't leave.
I'm not sure that passes constitutional muster, but there you go.
I hope not.
It is not.
I don't know. I mean,
it's seizure.
Well, probably not with this court. But can you imagine that? I mean, these are the same Democrats who say, don't build a wall, to keep people from coming in. Now they want a Berlin Wall to keep Americans from leaving. It's an outrageous policy. It will make every American poorer, because you're talking about all of these new taxes on the people who are the job creators in the country. The people who've created wealth create wealth for everyone. Take somebody like Elon Musk. Look at how many jobs he's created for Americans. Why would we want to punish them, Stuart?
Well, listen, Washington State's looking at a wealth tax, kind of like California is. That's why California, the big boys are leaving.
Yeah.
And they should.
Look at New York.
Okay.
Kathy Hochul's asking for them to come back after she said, see you later.
And there are states that won't let you take your wealth out of the state without taxing it. California is one of them. Hawaii is another one. So if you go and you make money in these places and you want to transfer it out or you're going to leave, they're going to tax you.
Wow.
So the only thing I can say is, when's the last time, and I want to say this respectfully, I don't mean it to be, I guess, racial. I don't know. Everything's racist, right?
Okay.
But when's the last time a poor guy gave you a job?
It's not racist. That's just common sense.
Okay, so think about that.
You're right, yeah.
And the #1 employer in the United States is still small business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and we employ more people than some of these big guys do, and you got AI coming in, it's going to wipe a lot of those jobs out.
Great point.
All right, so if you're going to tax people that have taken the risk to create a job for you to have, we're heading to a wall here. Oregon's heading to the wall. California is hitting the wall.
Yeah.
And Washington may be the next one that hits it before Oregon does.
Yep.
If Oregon gets a Republican governor, go Christine, hopefully that will be, this is the opportunity. Look what they tried to do. You remember when I interviewed her last week, what she said? We got stuck with a $4.3 billion tax bill to fix a $350 million program.
Yeah,
when they went into that special session, and she took off and went to Hawaii or someplace,
yes,
or Japan or someplace.
Right.
You know what the beginning amount of that proposal was?
What?
$15 billion.
Wow.
And they whittled it down to 4.3.
Whoa.
And they said that was a savings because that's what it takes to fix a $350 million problem. You want that kind of nonsense to go on? When are we going to lose a Lithia? When are we going to lose a Nike? When are we going to lose Columbia Sports? It won't be long if we keep this stuff up.
Yeah, and you know what? It was mentioned to me, we're going to lose a Lithia, kind of like how we lost Dutch Bros. You're going to lose a Lithia when the company gets sold out of family hands, and it is run by people who don't have roots in the community. Yeah. And they're going to say, we don't need this garbage.
Yeah, I think that's a long ways for Lithia, but
it could be. But that may be one day down.
No, but you're right. When things and that's the consolidation. Why are we talking about this? Because I just fought this when it comes to broadcasting. I better get out of here.
Oh, wait a minute.
No,
this is getting good.
No. I need to save my insanity.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Do we want to do line 9?
9. We already did it.
That was it.
Yeah, we're done.
See what happens?
Yep.
Yeah,
I wanted you to share it.
No. It's just, I guess what really upsets me is that people haven't got the foggiest idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the people in the legislature do not know what it is to make a payroll.
Right.
They don't know what it is.
Yep.
And yet they have this power to impose upon us all these things that we must do because they're getting a job that doesn't require hardly any work.
Right. Oh,
and they get all the perks.
Oh, you said it well right there.
Anyway, I think it's time for me to take a nap. I'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
Over time, every wall tells a story, but sometimes those stories need a fresh start. At Chris Silva Painting, we specialize in transforming indoor spaces, whether it's your family home or your business workspace. With premium paints, flexible scheduling, and expert attention to detail, we make the process simple and stress-free so you can focus on what matters most, living and working in a space you love. From bold new colors to subtle tones of sophistication, let Chris Silva Painting bring your vision to life, one wall at a time. Chris and his crew are courteous, they're efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960. 541-890-3960.
Welcome back. 24 minutes before the hour. Let's check in with our friends at CBN News and find out the latest on what's going on in Israel.
President Trump told the Financial Times Sunday, "I want to take control of Iranian oil, maybe take control of Karg Island. That means we will need to be on Karg for a while. I don't think the Iranians have any defense there. We will take the island very easily." Iran exports most of its oil from Karg Island. It's Iran's main economic engine. CENTCOM announced the amphibious assault ship, the USS Tripoli, has arrived in its area of responsibility. The 3,500 U.S. Marines on board are trained as a rapid response strike force. Iran's parliament speaker warned the U.S. against the ground invasion and threatened to set American troops on fire. He also warned Iran will increase its attacks on U.S. allies in the region. And President Trump is weighing a military operation to extract nearly 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. According to U.S. officials, that would be a complex and risky mission that would likely put American forces inside the country for days or longer. The president told reporters military action and negotiations are taking place at the same time.
But they're very good, moving along very nicely. And they've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone, we know that. But we destroyed many, many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly.
Trump also said he believes a measure of regime change has already taken place.
If you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change.
Over the weekend, exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi delivered an address in Texas.
Can you imagine Iran going from death to America to God bless America?
Speaking to the Conservative Political Action Committee, Pahlavi spoke of a brighter possible future for Iran.
In a country with the fastest rate of growth of Christianity in the world, the regime and its IRGC storm into and ransack underground house churches, detain and torture pastors, and persecute and execute evangelists and Christian converts. This is the Islamic Republic, not the true Iran.
For now, the current leader of Iran is thanking top religious leaders and paramilitary groups in Iraq for their support. And the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is warning U.S. citizens to leave the country immediately amid the threats from militias backed by Iran. In the meantime, Tehran's mayor sees the war advancing the goals of Shiite Islam.
All the American predictions have gone to ruin. Therefore, I believe that post-war Iran will be at such an exalted peak that it will prepare humanity for the coming of Mahdi.
The Mahdi is the Islamic messianic figure who they believe will appear at the end of time. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
The President of the United States, Donald Trump, just posted something quite incredible on Truth Social for Palm Sunday. It's a small letter from Franklin Graham. So, Billy, let me read you just a couple lines. Quote, "You can't save yourself. I can't save myself. Good works, prominence, success, none of these get us to heaven. The only way to heaven is through the shed blood of Jesus Christ. Billy, what do you think about this post?
I mean, this is fascinating to me because there are a lot of people who wouldn't spend the time, let's say, because they'd be afraid of losing power or prestige. And it's interesting, this letter was sent October 15th, 2025, and it's being shared months later. So there's a couple of things happening here. On one end, this must have meant something to Trump because he kept it and decided to share it now, right? The assumption is this was delivered to him in October, and here we are in March, and this is being shared. There's that. And then I think the other piece of it from Franklin Graham's perspective, he's delivering the gospel here. And he was saying, obviously, in this letter, and I'm looking at it too, just like you were, he was referencing when Trump commented in the media that he might not be heaven bound. We talked about this numerous times, you and I here at CBN. He said, maybe you responded in jest, but it is an important issue to know for certain that your soul is secure and you will spend eternity in the presence of God. He's making it very clear. This is what matters. You have to accept Jesus. Eternity is dependent on that. And he spends the bulk of the letter explaining that and then quoting Romans 10:9. And he said, you continue to be in our prayers. So I think from Franklin Graham's perspective, this is pretty noteworthy and notable that he be willing to put that time into, instead of just seeking power and prestige, to actually say, wait a minute, you made a comment about this. Let me explain to you how you can be certain that you can go to heaven, how you can be certain, whether you were joking or not, this is what matters most. And so I got to give a lot of credit to Franklin Graham for sending that letter, because at the end of the day, whether you are a president, a normal person, it doesn't matter. You're a human being. And when you die, you face the same judgment as everyone else. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And this is the most important message anybody could ever hear.
Regardless of what you think about Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, the most influential, consequential person on planet Earth, just shared a very raw, unfiltered gospel message to the world.
Well, there's a lot of people who disagree with that, but the point is that it's happening. In fact, we're going to hear from Franklin Graham on that very point coming up in a few moments. Right now, let's hear from a guy that's still trying to figure out where they're hiding the half shell.
Here's your forecast from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, a cool day with plenty of clouds and a chance of rain and even some snow showers with highs near 57 for Vancouver, Portland, and Wilsonville, partly sunny in mid-50s in McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow and highs in the mid to upper 50s from Salem through Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with lows in the low to mid 40s. A chance of rain and snow this morning across central Oregon, then rain later with highs in the low to mid 50s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a chance of a thunderstorm and upper 50s. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers along the Oregon coast with daytime high temperatures near 57 for Coos Bay and low to mid-50s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers with a high near 60 in Grants Pass and near 59 in Medford. Showers likely in Ashland with a high near 57 and over in Klamath Falls with a high near 56. For Northern California, a chance of showers around Wairika with a high near 60, rain likely in Redding with a high near 67, and Chico in the low 70s, a chance of rain in upper 60s in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy morning fog with a chance of rain in mid to upper 60s for Santa Rosa and Napa, rain likely in San Francisco, mainly after 11 a.m. with a high near 67, and in San Jose, a chance of rain in upper 60s. It's your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there you go. A little bit of a low cloud, high clouds above, kind of mixing around, Hey, hot and cold. Trying to figure out who's going to win the battle.
All right. Well, this was controversial, but on this day in history, one of the world's most recognizable landmarks officially rose above the Paris skyline. On March 31st, 1889, the Eiffel Tower was dedicated in Paris, led by its designer, Gustave Eiffel. Built to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution, the Iron Tower stood nearly 1,000 feet tall, making it the tallest man-made structure in the world at the time. But not everyone was impressed. Critics called it an eyesore, and some Parisians wanted it torn down.
Still, Eiffel pushed forward, finishing the project in just 2 years, under budget, and with remarkably few accidents. In fact, on opening day, the elevators weren't even ready, so Eiffel climbed the stairs himself to raise the French flag at the top. Originally meant to stand for just 20 years, the tower was nearly demolished in 1909 until its value as a radio antenna saved it. Today, it's one of the most visited landmarks on Earth. From controversy to radio antenna to global icon, the Eiffel Tower proves first impressions don't always last.
Yeah.
And the only reason it is still standing is because of radio.
Radio!
How about that?
All right.
And Gustav Eiffel, Eiffel, he has another claim to fame.
What?
He built the inner works that holds up the Statue of Liberty.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, all that iron work inside there, holding it up, that's Gustav
Eiffel was successul. Etzel wasn't.
Yeah, we were talking about those names.
Yeah.
Eiffel and Etzel.
All right.
One a big success, the other not so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you remember Roosevelt during the war, just before, right after Pearl Harbor, he goes on national television, radio, and says a prayer to the troops.
Yes.
Well, yesterday, our Secretary of War was praying for himself and praying for those that he commands. And here's the prayer.
Dear gracious God, I need you. Now more than ever before, I need you, for I realize how great is my task and how meager are my resources. Give me wisdom, I pray. When demands press in on every side, give me accurate eyes that can separate the important from the urgent, the fundamental from the incidental. Give me wisdom, I pray. When I ache for my soldiers' friendship, give me courage to earn their respect and obedience. Give me wisdom, I pray. When time and task pull in different directions, grant me clarity to see the way and peace to calm those around me. Give me wisdom, I pray. When decisions are demanded, may my walk match my talk. Remind me daily that the speed of a leader is the speed of the team. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my authority is tested, show me when to raise my voice and when to lower it, when to use the carrot and when to use the stick. Give me wisdom, I pray. When my time is done, may I be remembered as a leader who encouraged, not discouraged, as a man who built people up, not tore them down. Give me wisdom, I pray. When in victory, keep me humble. When in defeat, keep me from despair. Compensate my weaknesses, accentuate my strengths, mold me into the man you want me to be. Give me wisdom, I pray. And most of all, please keep my soldiers safe. Lead them, guide them, protect them, watch over them. And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me to give all of myself for them. And it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good stuff. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
When technology slows you down, your business and your life feels it. That's where Rogue Tech Pros comes in. We provide business technology services, managed IT services, and custom phone systems for businesses and homes. Our award-winning team takes time to understand your unique needs and builds a customized plan to keep your systems running smoothly so you can focus on growing your business while we handle the IT headaches. Find us at RogueTechPros.com. RogueTechPros.com. We keep IT simple.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go, So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Okay, it was mentioned just a little while ago about Franklin Graham, and he was one of the key speakers at the 2026 CPAC conference, and he spoke about the mainstream reports and podcasts that were reporting that President Trump base had a problem with the war in Iran, and here's what he had to say about it.
One of the mainline reports last week had on their website that it said that the Iran war is a problem for Trump's base. Really, a problem for Trump's base. I thought, well, I'm a part of that base. Nobody asked me about it. I don't have a problem. And everyone else I've talked to, they don't have a problem. But they'll put the little seeds of doubt like, you know, it's a problem for Trump's base. And there are people out there who will read that or hear that, and they'll think, oh, maybe I ought to not support this, or maybe this is what the media do. They plant little seeds of doubt. They want to have his base have doubt. Listen, we only have one shot at this, okay? Make it work. Be cautious of people with podcasts and social media platforms who make money by views, clicks, and the number of followers they have. If they can cause a stir, if they can get a debate, these kinds of things, it will serve them, and they will profit from it. They like to cause a stir because they can profit, because more people will tune in and listen to their podcast or watch their whatever. Be careful of these people. And some of them have some real extreme views. Midterms are coming, and how critical this is. Some people feel that with AI, it may be impossible to have fair elections in the future. And I agree with that. I think it's going to be difficult. Others have said the goal of AI is to control the world's messaging, not just in the United States, but the world. I agree. John the Revelator tells us in the book that he penned, the book of Revelations in the Bible, that the day is coming when there will be a one world government, and it will be controlled by a person called the Antichrist. That's what the Bible calls it, the Antichrist. And you know what? In that day, may be here sooner than you think.
Well, I think we have to bring into the reality of what you believe. And we can get hung up on a lot of incidentals, but the essentials is now what's bringing people to Christ. And I think the bottom line is the world is so crazy that people are now seriously thinking about eternity.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, I believe so.
Is there life after this life? Where am I going? Is there a God? Is Jesus really the Messiah? Is he really the Savior of the world? I mean, basic questions.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Are we there with the answers, or are we there with our biases? Can you shake the political rhetoric of the day for the sake of the simplicity of the gospel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you need to think about that, okay? Because it's creeped into the church, and you're one of those. Or you think this way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or you're
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so
let me ask you. He brought up a couple good points there. That's okay. We like them. And that is that he commented on Trump's base isn't happy with this. Nobody asked me.
Yeah.
Do you ever get asked?
Yes, I do. But
do you?
But it's tongue in cheek for me. They know that. But. I get asked, do I like Trump as a person more than I do get asked about his policies.
Isn't that interesting?
So,
yeah.
So they have separated me out from that argument.
Okay. And then the other thing.
So I can honestly say that I don't like his personality.
Right.
Okay. But at the same time, I don't think we've ever seen such a consequential president getting more done in and protecting religious freedom.
Yeah.
And for sake of the gospel and anything we've seen ever.
Yeah.
So, you tolerate one to get the other, so to speak.
Yeah.
Nobody's. I think we forget that we're humans and we're not perfect.
And as Franklin Graham brought up in the first hour, he didn't ever think he would see R.V. Wade overturned in his lifetime, and it has been.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Take with you Romans 5, and hope does not put us to shame. Why? Because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, who's been given to us. The question I ask today, are you absolutely sure that the Holy Spirit is living inside of you today?
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why at Kelly's, it's automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
They travel across America to give an answer for questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
The Gospels are historically reliable.
Their mission, present truth, faith, and help people find purpose.
Not based on blind faith.
Join them as they strive to make a lasting impact on lives and hearts for Christ.
They're either all wrong or one of them's right. I got to go to the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Don't miss Give Me an Answer, weekdays at 3 on the Dove TV. You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Southern Oregon and the Rogue Valley. Seen on KDOV 18, KDSO 24, and these Dove TV affiliates.
Welcome Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I've been looking forward to our special guest today. Professor Mike Tadlock's with us. He's the lead pastor at Grace Chapel and is a chaplain there at the Portland Trailblazers, yes, in Portland. He's been one of the youngest teaching professors at the Prairie Bible College and Multnomah Bible College, and is currently an adjunct professor at Western Seminary in Portland. A frequent teacher at workshops, seminars, and seminaries and churches around the world. His pastoral experience includes leading within urban, inner city, and suburban churches. Pretty well experienced. Check out verticalpursuit.org. Now, there's a great website title, verticalpursuit.org. And there's a picture of that landing page. Professor Tadlock, good to see you, friend. How are you?
Great to see you, Perry. I'm honored to be on here this morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're great, man. It's been a long time. I've been looking. You and I need to get together. We probably should have lunch someday.
I agree with that. You know, it's funny, Perry. I've actually got to know your son a little bit. We had him on our podcast with Mike Barrett. So
did you?
It was an honor to meet him and heard great things about you and your ministry. So it's an honor to be here.
Did he take you fly fishing?
You know what? That's on the agenda. That's right. We've talked about Pastors Mondays and getting out there on the water.
Okay, I want to report when you get done with that one. I want to know the truth of what goes on with Pastors Mondays.
I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks for your time. A lot to talk to you about. Good to see you. You said that the cultural moment is a storm. What do you mean by that?
I think what we all know right now, when we're looking at the world around us, there's a lot of chaos. We can go back beyond just the last 5 years, but specifically the last 5 years. I think people are more awakened to the tensions that's in our culture right now. And it feels like a storm. It feels like the wind is blowing pretty hard, and there's tensions politically. There's tensions certainly in relationships, whether it's current events. But the thing that I'm trying to address the most in our church or any opportunity I have is what's the spiritual dynamics and battle that's taking place behind the cultural battle. Most people are familiar with the cultural tensions, the topics that are divisive, causing rifts in families and churches and leaderships, certainly in our nation. But what I'm really more attuned to is what's the spiritual battle and what are the spiritual things we need to be discerning behind the cultural battles. And so that's the storm behind the storm.
All right. I had one of our professors on Pacific Bible here yesterday, and Pastor Rick Boya, and we were talking almost about the same thing. So let me ask you just a basic question. Do you think one of the issues today is that the gospel, just the simplicity of the gospel message, is being interrupted by cultural influences?
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things that Satan can do is we know that he distorts. We know that he's a liar. Jesus made it very clear that he's the father of lies and that he's a murderer and that he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But his weapon of choice is lying. And I think that he's a master at deception. He's also a master at distraction. And that's part of the tactics the enemy uses, is to get us distracted. And I think the more that we can get caught up in things that pulls us away from the clarity and the conviction of the gospel, then he can win that territory. He can win that game. But we've been called to bring the gospel with clarity and conviction. That's what will bring redemption and hope to the world. So I think if he can get us caught up and distracted, then he can distort our mission and purpose.
All right. Staying within the confines of the church, are we being polarized?
Well, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I think that this is what we have to, as believers, realize, that Satan wants to divide us. And we know this, that Jesus prayed in John 17 about a united church. And Jesus said that the fruit of a united church is that the world would know that he was sent. And so what's at stake when we are not united as a church is that the gospel doesn't get presented and the message and the reflection of Christ doesn't become clear to the world around us. So I think that we have to be careful as leaders. We definitely need to address issues. I'm a firm believer that we need to disciple as pastors, shepherd our churches, to give them discernment, and certainly give them, what does the Bible speak to these issues in our world. But we have to go beyond just the issues and make sure that we realize we're not getting pulled into some things that in that polarity and in that divisiveness, we can lose our platform for sharing the gospel or the priority of that.
I have Dr. George Barna on quite a bit. We've actually become friends. He's quite a guy. And if you know, he's done the research where we went from, I think, a 20% biblical worldview to an 8%. And then he reviewed his own research in the last year or so, and it's now 4% biblical worldview within the United States. What's happened to us, Mike? What went wrong?
Well, I know we've drifted, and I think that what happens is when we try to be relevant, I think this is a really good word to all of us as pastors and leaders, anybody who's got a platform with a ministry, is that I think that we tried so hard to make the gospel relevant to culture that we ended up compromising the gospel. We've watered down, and so then we aren't training our people. We're not allowing people to have biblical literacy and to know how does God's word speak to our world and speak to our lives. But I think when we try to be relevant to the world, the reality is this, is that the gospel does its own relevance. It has its own power. We don't need to strip it down, water it down. One of the things that I think we're seeing right now, though, is there is a resurgence of a hunger for truth. We're seeing churches that are exploding and growing. I know our churches, people look at Oregon and say, wow, you guys are the graveyard for churches. I've heard that for years. And I go, well, I know myself and several other churches that are speaking the truth and speaking the gospel, raising the biblical literacy in our churches, that it's actually drawing people. People are hungry for the truth right now. I think they're tired of the lies and deceptions. They know that that the enemy always overplays his hand. The world is overpromised, underdelivered, and that's left this vacuum where people are going, where can I go and actually get solid food, get truth? Where can I learn and get fed with God's word? And so we're seeing an incredible opportunity right now, I think, to let people go deep into God's word, feast on God's truth, and find it very satisfying.
In the pursuit to be relevant, we stepped aside from the word that offends a lot of people, that is sin.
Yeah.
But now sin's back in the message again. Ta-da!
Go figure.
What do you think?
I love how you put that, Perry. That's good. It's back in the equation. And it's sad that we took it out of the equation. And I think that was part of this temptation to look at the world. Certainly, I can just speak to what we've experienced in the Northwest, where we said, okay, well, people aren't coming to church. Well, I tell our church, listen, the goal is not to get people to church. The goal is to get people to Christ. And what separates us from Christ is the reality of this thing called sin. Sin separates us. It breaks that off. Sin is behind everything we see going on in the world. And so when people say, hey, what's the problem with the world right now? Well, that's sin. And what we're seeing is the world's trying to come up with worldly solutions to a sin problem. And those worldly solutions, everybody wants peace, everybody wants hope. We're living in chaotic times. But there's only one person that offered the solution to sin, and that was Christ. And this is a beautiful week to even be talking about this as we go into Resurrection Sunday. And this is, not just the only time we should be preaching the gospel. We should be preaching this every day, and we should be living the gospel every day. And I know we're seeing that as a sports chaplain with the NBA. What people don't know is that we meet, every NBA team meets for chapel before every single game across the country, and both teams are welcome. And so, if you look at how many home games there are, we have players that do more chapels at games than people can even go to church. And we're seeing numbers increase significantly across our chapel services. And we're seeing people in the arenas, workers that are getting off another job to come work their second job, doing security, ushers, and greeters, that are craving God's word right now. I have little flyers that have the gospel, or chapel notes is what we call them. It's what we go through the scripture in chapel. And as soon as we get done with that, I walk the entire arena and I run out every night. I've given more Bibles away this year to people in the arena. We have a saying amongst us chaplains: win the arena, win the arena. That's why we're there, not just for the players. And we're seeing in the last 2 years an increase of people saying, hey, do you have those chapel notes? Do you have any more Bibles? And so I'm certainly seeing a move of God happen right now. It reminds me when Paul said, make the most of every opportunity, even when the days are evil. And I think there's certainly evil in our world. We can see that, and we know what's going on. But I think we're also living in an incredible opportune time to be bold and humble with the gospel, to share it, because there's a craving, there's a hunger, and God's Spirit is moving right now. The heavens are open, meaning that God is moving, and I want to partner with him in what he's doing.
There's a lot of speculation, Mike, of why people are turning to faith. What do you think it is?
I think people are waking up. This is the Holy Spirit moving. God awakens people. That's what he does. And I think that certainly that's a move of God's Spirit. He's awakening hearts and souls to what he created us for, which is a relationship with him. He longs to see the lost come to him. He longs to see those who are deceived turn to him. That's his heart. That's why he came. That's the way he expresses his love, that while we're sinners, as Romans tells us, Christ died for us. So we know that he is awakening hearts and minds to look for him, to seek him. And I think that in that hunger, people are also waking up to, they've placed their hope, or I should say misplaced their hope, in things of the world, strategies of the world. Sometimes our political parties and solutions aren't solving what only the gospel can solve. And so people are realizing and waking up. They can't trust leadership. I think, if anything, COVID, the last several years have showed us, who do I trust? And they're looking beyond now to something higher, which is hopefully where we get to step in and point to who that person they're really looking for, which is Christ.
Back to when there was a movement, it still is a little bit, to be relevant, seeker-friendly. You know all that stuff. You lived through that. But what's so interesting to me is we were moving through that. There was a time where the message was, come as you are, stay as you are, and leave as you are. It's kind of like we put a Christian seal on it, but nothing changed. Now there seems to be a changing going on. There's actually a changed life occurring these days.
Absolutely. I mean, we know the central message of the gospel is definitely that Jesus loves us where we are. We know that. He came to meet us while we were sinners. He loves us where we are, but he loves us too much to keep us where we are. And that's the other part. The gospel has two parts to it, and I think we oftentimes only preach one part of it. The gospel isn't he just saves us from sin. It's that he saves us from sin and then saves us to new life. But that life requires a sacrifice of our own life, to deny ourselves and say, may I decrease so he can increase, and an invitation to live a sold out, surrendered life. And on the other side of that, Jesus said, those who lose their life for his sake, they will discover it and they will find it. So I think we have to be careful we don't commit spiritual malpractice as a pastor, as a speaker, when we only talk about half of the gospel, which is, yes, he does save us from our sin, but he also saves us to new life in him. And that new life requires me laying down my life. And I think that's what we see in our world right now, that one of the things the enemy is trying to do is convince us that our spirituality and our faith revolves around us, puts us at the center, when really the true life is Jesus at the center.
Beautiful. All right, let me take a quick break. Check out Mike's website, Vertical Pursuit. Gosh, I love that title. Verticalpursuit.org. There it is, a picture of the landing page. We'll be back with Michael Tadlock in just a moment.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Welcome back. Such an honor to have with us. Mike Tatlock's with us today, lead pastor at Grace Chapel. He's also the chaplain for the Portland Trail Blazers. And by the way, I just found out you got a book, Compelling Faith in a Compromising Culture. Is that right? Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
Where can they get that?
Amazon. Amazon's an easy place to get it. They do a great job. Get it to your house in a couple days.
Okay, cool. So a compelling faith in a compromising culture. What's the essence of the book, Mike?
But it's interesting because I discovered the actual meaning of the word compromise, and it really stood out with me. And I saw this probably about 6 years ago, and it really got emphasized a lot more. Certainly we saw during COVID. We certainly saw during a lot of the political tensions, the cultural issues and battles, that word compromise. What's interesting about the word compromise is that it has the word promise in it. And the word promise is in the word compromise. And when you look up what the definition of the word compromise is, it means to make an agreement with the wrong promise. And every time there's a compromise in our life, what's at the root of that compromise is I have made an agreement with the wrong promise. And what you see in our culture, I write about this in the first chapter, that behind the cultural wars, there's a spiritual war. And in that spiritual war, as John says, test the spirits, meaning that there's a spiritual realm that's as real as the natural physical world that we're in. And so what's really behind these cultural topics that we see that many people can sense it, but maybe can't quite put their finger on it, what's happening behind the scenes in the spirit realm is that there's a battle that's raging, that's warring. And John says, test the spirits, discern the spirits, even go as far as to say that there's the spirit of the Antichrist, not just a future person, but the spirit of the Antichrist is already at work. So we know there's a anti-Jesus spirit that's happening. And one of the things that the spirit realm, what Satan does is a liar and deceiver. He's really good at masquerading as light, as Paul tells us. To give an example, when he says Satan masquerades as an angel of light, he then says right after that, and his workers do acts of righteousness. And the Greek word there for righteousness is dikaiosyne, which is where we get the word justice. And I think that's a good example that there's a difference between what we see biblical justice and the current popular social justice. And I would see lots of people get caught up in some of the movements that we see in our country that might be under a banner that has a biblical word, but it's not really living aligned with biblical principles. And you can see that in so many different consistent issues where Satan's really good at taking things as a counterfeit, things that make him look at light. We know the Bible says that there will be those who call evil good and good evil. Well, the redefining of some of these things, how love is defined right now. You know, love is defined today by affirming and agreeing what someone says is their truth. But we know that if somebody wants me to agree with their truth and I don't, that doesn't mean I don't love them. But all these things are getting rewired and redefined, and that's exactly what Satan's doing. And so what ends up happening, if we're not rooted as believers in the truth and discerning in the Holy Spirit, then we can actually make agreements with these lying, deceptive spirits. And in doing that, we end up compromising our faith. So I talk about that battle in the first chapter. And then the word also in the title is compelling. How do we live compelling right now in the midst of this culture? When Peter tells us, live in such a way that when those who ask you for a reasonable answer for the hope that you have, give your apologetic, if you will, it implies I'm living in such a way that people want to know the hope that I have. And so I hope that as we're living in these days, that we're not compromising our truth, we're not compromising our convictions because we've been deceived into other forms of values that look Christian, but really behind the scenes are just Christian labels, biblical labels, but not biblical definitions.
Gosh. The book is titled A Compelling Faith in a Compromising Culture. There's a picture of the cover of the book. You can check that out on Amazon. And also check out Professor Mike's website, verticalpursuit.org. Back to all of this, there's a couple of words that stand out here, Mike. One is change and the other one is truth.
Yeah.
The Bible says to know the truth, it will set you free. That creates the change. A lot of people come to church and investigate faith out of hope.
Yeah.
And moving them from hope to change to truth is your pastoral duty.
That's right. That's right.
Tag, you're it, not me, you.
Sort of in the job description.
How's it going, Coach?
I appreciate that. You know, it's really interesting, Perry, because one of the things that's really exciting that I've learned was, and I go back again just to COVID when things were crazy, and this was in the early, I would say, 3 months of COVID. I got a phone call from a producer that does a post-game sports show for the Blazers, and they talk about games and stats and all that stuff. And he called me up and he said, "You're the chaplain. Would you come on our sports show? But don't talk about sports." He says, people need hope right now. They don't know what's going on. They don't know where to turn. The world seems upside down. And I'm, any opportunity to come speak about hope in Christ, I'll jump at that opportunity. So I go on the show, and he teed it up very well. And I just talked about, you've got to put your hope in Christ, not hope in the world, not hope in what the world is offering. Put your hope in Christ. And not only did that program go out and had such a great response. He called me later that day and said, "Oh my goodness, the viewers want you to come back. Can you come back and do part 2?" And so again, I came back the next week, and we turned sports radio into an evangelistic opportunity. And I just think that's what we're seeing right now. My good friend Mike Barrett, as we were talking earlier, we started Vertical Pursuit podcast because of that. We wanted to get out there to as many people as possible, a message of hope, discernment in these days. And what we're finding is there's a hunger for that. And so I think we as pastors got to know we have an opportunity right now that people are lost. As Jesus said, they're like sheep without shepherds. And Jesus felt compassion in that moment. But he also said, in the same verse, when he said that sheep are like without shepherds, he said the harvest is ready. So I really believe we're living in a harvest time. And so when we are bold with our message of truth, the gospel, and hope, people are hungry for it.
It's been said that we can agree on the essentials and respectfully disagree on the non-essentials. The problem is we try to define that line.
That's true.
Okay.
That's so true.
But here's the deal. We're in Passion Week. We're in Holy Week. This is very essential. This is the essentials. What would you say to somebody that maybe just doesn't quite get this week?
For those that want to know what the central message of this week is, it's all about Jesus's what we call the triumphal entry. That was what the whole Passion Week was about, leading up to his death and then ultimately his resurrection. And what I love about the resurrection story, from Mary to Peter and John to Thomas, the doubting Thomas, to Peter, who even rejected Jesus in that moment of fear, Jesus met every person where they were, even to the skeptic, like a Thomas, who said, I just can't believe. Jesus said, let me show you my hands. Touch for your own self. See that I'm real. See that I'm here. And I just love that Jesus, the whole story, is he meets us where we're at. He leaves heaven as God to come to earth, to walk as in our place, in our brokenness. Jesus goes to those that were scandalized, the sinners, and he said, I'm going to walk with you and befriend you. And he continues to lower himself into the place of death in the tomb, to sacrifice, to give his life, only to be resurrected. And on that resurrection, to prove that he has victory over sin, over death. And because we know this, the world will always overpromise, underdeliver, and Jesus is the only one that can back up his promises. His resurrection backs up his promises, that he says, if I have the promise of life, let me promise to you through my resurrection that I have the power to fulfill that. And the great thing about this, the Bible says the same Spirit that raised Christ from the grave is the same Holy Spirit that can resurrect hope, resurrect life in each of us every single day.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. One last quick question, Mike. We're seeing another phenomenon in America, and it's being backed up with some substantial evidence, and that is the drawing of young men to faith.
Yeah.
And there's a flip side of that. What's happening to young women? There's some commentary on that. But sticking with the young men, what do you think the attraction is? What do you think? What's on the mind of these young guys?
I really appreciate bringing that up. You know, I was just on a Zoom call with the president of Colorado Christian University yesterday. They're having me come out in next year to do a campaign with all the men on campus. And I just wrote a book a year ago called Vintage Masculinity. And it's a book just specifically about discipling men. Because one of the things that we're seeing in our culture right now, culture wants to demonize men and demonize masculinity. And Jesus wants us to disciple men and disciple masculinity. So I wrote a book called Vintage Masculinity, and it's kind of taken off. I didn't realize this, how big it would grow. And we're starting to see men, and particularly young men. We started a group of guys on Wednesday nights, 12 of us, going through that book. And now we're over probably 85 men on Wednesday nights. And a lot of them are young guys coming back. We're seeing young guys come to church. And the numbers are saying that one of the largest demographics that's coming back to church right now is young men. And I think what we're seeing right now is if we can focus on discipling young men, and we're obviously discipling women too, but there's a hunger and a craving for men to be discipled. I think they're tired of being beat down and stereotyped. And so they're looking for spiritual fathers. They're looking for the church to pour into them. And we're seeing a revival. I'll use that word. We're seeing a revival of men right now. And I want to into that. But those are some things that we're seeing firsthand. And it's incredible, the opportunities to see men's ministries growing right now. And I say it this way, that the Lord gave me a vision in my heart about 5 years ago, which is go upstream with the men. If you go upstream with the men, the trickle down in marriages, the trickle down in fathering, the trickle down in work and society. And so I think the Spirit of God is really emphasizing right now, not with the exclusion of discipling women. In fact, in 30 years being a pastor, the number one question I've had by women is, how do I get my husbands to lead spiritually? And so I have multiple women. The podcast that Mike Barrett and I just talked about, we started focusing just on men, and it has exploded. So we're definitely seeing God do a revival amongst men right now.
Remember, there's more fish upstream.
Right, that's right. Gotta go upstream. Love that, Perry.
All right, let me say, check out Mike's book, A Compelling Faith in a Compromising Culture. There's a picture of the cover of the book on the screen. Check out his website, verticalpursuit.org. And, of course, if you're up in the Portland area, Grace Chapel, check that out as well. Mike, you're terrific. Can we get you back?
Absolutely. Would love that, Perry. Been looking forward to finally meeting you in person.
Well, we got to do that. Maybe we can get on the boat together or something.
You say it, I'll be there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, brother. God bless.
God bless. Thanks, Perry.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Something to think about from the Dove TV.
Mourning is sadness over sin. You're mourning because of your sin or the effects of sin, even if it's on others. Sin should make us sad. When we see it in our own lives, the regrets of our sin, and when we see its effect in the world around us, on our loved ones, on our society. The negative effects of sin are no joking matter. You are blessed when what hurts the heart of God hurts your heart too. You are blessed when you feel about evil the way God feels about evil, where it's not dismissed, but it hurts.
Okay, welcome back. Always an honor when we have time to sit down with Dr. Tim Murphy. So appreciate this man and his work. He's a licensed psychologist, a clinical director there at Fortis Future, which is a center focusing on the care of veterans and military and first responders with PTSD. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from Pennsylvania's 18th District 8 times, but he's now been healed from that. He's a recovering politician. He's the author of a must book to have in your library. If you manage people, you're around a lot of people, you talk to a lot of people, people come to you for counseling or whatever, or advice or support, get this book. It's called The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. There's a lot in this book. You can go to drtimmurphy.com is his website, and there's a picture of his landing page. Dr. Murphy, great to see you, friend. How are you?
Always good to be with you.
Thank you.
Happy Easter week.
Well, wow, huge victory from the Supreme Court on Tuesday for what's happening in Colorado, trying to ban conversion therapy. What's your take on this?
Yeah, this is a major decision that just came through a couple hours ago. So conversion therapy is when, it's a very broad definition that's used. It's basically when someone is seeing a counselor therapist and the intent is to help them change from LGBT tendencies. So if a man says that he does not want to have same-sex attraction, or a woman the same thing, or if a person is experiencing some gender dysphoria, where they think they maybe have the wrong body or sex assigned at birth, so therefore they want to change. And then that is, but a therapist in many states, it's banned either by law or through the state licensing board, says you can't have that discussion. In other words, if a person, a youth, a 12-year-old says, I'm a boy, I think I want to be a girl, if you ask questions or in any direction, it's like, well, what makes you think that? Maybe that's not the case. Let's explore that. States have said, some states have said that's against the law. You can only help that person move towards that gender transition, not away from it. You can only help someone move towards a same-sex attraction, not away from it. So this case in Colorado, Kaylee Childs, a counselor, says, well, wait a minute. My free speech is being harmed here because I should be able to talk with a patient about the things they come to me to talk about. I shouldn't be obligated by the law to only talk in one direction. And so what happened is the Supreme Court heard this case in October, and this is a powerful decision. This is 8-1. This is not even subtle. Basically saying a state cannot ban someone's viewpoint in this. You cannot say you can't. It implications in other religious aspects too. You can't tell someone they cannot discuss something within this. Now, Kay's a Christian counselor, and she looks at this in terms of, well, if someone's coming to me for some Christian counseling and they want information on this, I should be allowed to give that to them. So this case now says the Colorado law is struck down. You cannot ban that. And this, I think there's 20-some states that have this ban. But there's also licensing boards, like in my state of Pennsylvania. It's not illegal by the state House and Senate voting this way, but the state licensing board says, well, regardless of how you vote on this or not, we're going to ban it anyways as a licensing board and say it's an unethical practice by which you could lose your license and be censored somehow in this. So it's a major hurdle that's been overcome to help counselors really have honest discussions with their clients. This is powerful.
It was 8-1. That's a solid decision. It does impact Colorado and potentially 14 other states. A couple things here. This overall is a protection of overall therapy, isn't it?
It is. It really is a protection of therapy that we're allowed to have discussions with our clients on issues, which is extremely important. That has been restricted before. It says the state coming into your counseling office. And there have been some test cases that have been out there that where people have been accused of doing these conversion therapies. And I should say what this is, that what is being said is something that it really is not practiced. So there was a movie out some years ago, I forget the name of it, but it was about the British person who cracked the Enigma code in World War II, the German code. At the end of that movie, it transitioned away from his heroic efforts to talk about, it was found out that he was gay, and so therefore they started doing chemical, hormonal shots on him and treatments. And in some cases, they say people have used things like electric shocks, aversive therapy. Well, those things aren't done. Although I should say they do use hormonal treatments when someone says they want to change their gender, but that's another case. But those things are not done. So what was being created was this fear among state legislators, say, oh, look, this is terrible, and there's people doing this. It would be like in any other case, it'd be a questionable practice if I was seeing someone that says, well, I want to be afraid of tigers, so show me a picture of a tiger and give me electric shock. I mean, that's an absurd thing to take place. And yet people are trying to present this. And then in states like Pennsylvania, they were just they were attributing all sorts of problems to this, like a sense of hopelessness, estrangement from family, difficulty going through life, all kinds of things that were presenting symptoms anyway. So this allows people to go to a therapist and openly and honestly and confidentially talk about issues that are important to them.
What's the difference between a therapist's office and a confessional booth?
The confessional booth, which is protected for some clergy, means that is a private conversation, and a court cannot compel someone to tell what was discussed in the confessional booth. You cannot do that. That's protected under law. In therapy, a court could subpoena the counselor's records. If there's a case there, many times counselors will keep some written records and some only in their memory, or they don't keep records in cases like this. And it really is to protect the client in many cases too. So, for example, if there was a divorce trial, a child custody trial, and the therapist was seeing maybe the father, the mother seeing their own therapist, and the courts tried to get access to their counseling records to try and prove a case, or particularly if there's a criminal case involved, they might be able to obtain those records. But in cases like this, there's a lot of pressure, ethical pressure, because sometimes what has happened in this is they'll send a false client to the therapist's office who will say, I have this concern, can you help me change that? And if that therapist up to this point has said, okay, well, I understand, I'm a Christian counselor, I don't support this idea of these transitions, I can help you talk about that. Well, if that's a violation of ethical code, that person who may have been a plant can then go and raise concerns about that person.
Interesting. One other question about this before I leave, and it may be a loaded question, but as a therapist, and somebody comes to you and is struggling with same-sex attraction, and where do you start the conversation? Now, you're a Christian therapist, and your approach to this is going to be biblical. How do you start that conversation?
Well, in my case, what I've done to this point, when a couple of times those have come up to me and said, this is not my specialty. So it's not something I can advise you on in terms of a wide range of clinical aspects. But if you're asking me from a faith or Christian perspective, let's explore biblically what this says. And in a case like that, really ask the client to read those things too, and read how those interpretations of biblical statements have been made, whatever that may be throughout the Bible. God made man and woman, or stories from Sodom and Gomorrah, or other concerns that take place there. But the main thing is, I would want the client to tell me what that means to you. Where does this come from? How is this exhibited? What is happening there? And sometimes the person will say they've had terrible abuse in their life, and that's the issue they're dealing with. It's okay, let's deal with the abuse, because that attraction can be related to a fear of abuse in childhood. Let's resolve that underlying issue if it's there. But in some case, a person says, that's just the way I feel. I say to them, I'm not in a position by my training to necessarily have all the skill sets to turn that around. But now that this is no longer banned, my hope is that counseling programs will train people to help people, especially in the area of gender dysphoria. This is an area where there's increasing court cases and lawsuits where people saying, I saw this therapist for like 45 minutes, and next thing you know, I'm being referred for surgery and hormone therapy. Because that's what the law said. You can only work with someone in that direction. And that's probably the biggest impact that's going to occur here.
Amazing. I guess we could spend the whole program talking about that. But back to the Supreme Court ruling just a little while ago, the Supreme Court ruled 8-1 against a Colorado ban on conversion therapy. This is a huge win, ladies and gentlemen. This will set the precedence, and I think it's a huge win for just counseling overall. So thank the Lord for this one, Dr. Murphy.
That's right. Thank the Lord.
Some other things I want to talk to you about, kind of leaning a little bit back on your days in Congress. What do you think we're involved in with this shutdown, and what stands out to you about behavior on this? It's hard not to get into the politics of it. I'm trying to stay at the 30,000-foot view, but it seems to be so stupid.
Yeah, so this is where we can get a discussion of what is passive-aggressive behavior. Now, there have been times when the Republicans have pushed towards some shutdown, but those things have been resolved, and times the Democrats do it. So I'm going to try and deal with this in a nonpartisan way. But right now, we're dealing with something that's prolonged. And the concern and the current, there was something about healthcare before. Remember, shut down the government. Everything was shut down for a while, the longest shutdown in our history over some healthcare issues. What I found interesting, as soon as the government reopened, we didn't discuss healthcare anymore. What happened to it? I thought that was a big concern. There'd be all these bills and legislation put out there to try and change something. And so what came out of that was this really the issue at all? Or was there a battle within the parties in terms of who's going to control it? A very liberal, progressive part, a more moderate part, who's going to be in control? And one was saying, well, shut it down. We want to make these changes. Now we're in a similar situation where spinning off of immigration and customs enforcement and Border Patrol and the issues that took place in Minnesota where 2 people have died, where their questions are still out there in terms of the tactics used. Was it overbearing? Was it too much? Whatever. And you had this conflict between the governor and the mayor saying, you should demonstrate, you should be out there. And you had outside groups paying and promoting and training people to commit violence against police officers and resistance. These weren't calm demonstrations. And so as these appropriations bills came up, Senator Schumer said, we're going to block everything unless we have several reforms. And among those reforms were things like, these agents should not be allowed to wear masks. And I find it interesting that the demonstrators wear masks, and they hide their faces and their identity, but they didn't want the police doing it. The concern was that retaliation against law enforcement, doxing them, saying where their home is a safety concern for them. So it goes to this. When there's been discussions on this, could they resolve it? And I think in the legislative body, you should be able to resolve it. There was a number of things that were requested, body cams, et cetera, could have been resolved. But what appears here is the goal line's still moving. And so you really can't resolve something you just want to, as they say, the majority has its way, the minority has its say. And this applies to anybody in life. When you're in a relationship at work, at home, or something, where you're trying to get a solution to a problem, and the goal keeps changing. And says, I don't know what you want. And the subtle things we do that's not so nice, like, well, maybe the dinner is cold. Maybe dinner even get cooked. Maybe the lawn didn't get mowed. Those things that couples do to each other, nasty little things to not do something that in turn irritates the other people. It really doesn't work towards any solution. It just annoys the other person. And when you have that sort of behavior, that passive-aggressive behavior, that's not helping anyone. I mean, Perry, you may have heard this at times. Someone said, I'm mad at the pastor. I didn't like his sermon last week. I'm not going to go to this week. I'll show him. Are you kidding me? Is that a resolution? No. That's a passive-aggressive attempt to be a problem or annoy someone without a real move towards a resolution. And that's what we're in now. And that's why on the outside we're thinking, can't you folks sit down and resolve this? There's got to be a way.
Well, it's interesting, the latest polls, and even when they're talking to people standing in these long lines, the bottom line was the blame is on Congress as a whole, not necessarily the left and the right. Which is, you and I, especially you've been in there, so you see the battle lines. But to the person out there, the average citizen out there, the blame is on Congress for just almost malpractice.
Yeah, and then also saying, while Congress is out on vacation, take pictures of them and post them. That's another hot thing now, too, that people get to go on vacation, other people are stopped from their airplanes.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, let me take a quick break. A couple of things. Check out Dr. Murphy's book, The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. And his website is drtimmurphy.com. We'll be right back.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Panoramic Moto Tours was born really out of my passion just to ride Grace back roads and the scenic highways in our beautiful Northwest. God put it on my heart to share the experiences and invite others. More than riding beautiful roads, it's the camaraderie and fellowship. It's hearing each other's stories. It's being mutually encouraged on our journeys of life.
Riders can book one of our ready-to-ride guided tours offering the best of Oregon or Northern California, or book a private custom tour tailored just for your group to destinations like Glacier or Yellowstone. For more information, go to
panoramicmototours.com or call me, Nick, at 541-622-3844. When you find something you love, you just want to share it.
panoramicmototours.com. Your next adventure starts here.
Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is your watchful eye on the nation's capital. Every weeknight, covering current events, issues of faith, family, and freedom from a conservative Christian perspective.
Who is really upholding the law? And
Tony is the president of the Family Research Council and your leading source for what's really happening in our nation's capital.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Don't miss Washington Watch, weeknights at 6 on the Dove TV.
Welcome back. Always an honor to have Dr. Tim Murphy with us today, licensed psychologist. And by the way, he has a great book called The Christ Cure. Got to have this in your library. Have it on your desk all the time. 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. There's a picture of the cover of the book. And his website is Dr. Tim Murphy. Excuse me, drtimmurphy.com. And by the way, we're just celebrating within the last couple of hours, the Supreme Court has ruled against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy. This is a huge win for therapy overall. The Supreme Court ruling was 8-1, a very solid decision on that, which is not only protection of the First Amendment, I think protection and therapy overall. So good stuff. I want to switch your attention to maybe a criticism that you've run into in your profession. We hear it a lot in media, and especially those of us who have been involved in media for a long time, in advertising. And that is the feminization of things. Some people have said the counseling world has become feminized. Some people say most churches are geared towards women than men, and most advertising in this culture puts men down. What's your response to that?
I think that's absolutely true. I mean, a lot of the purchasing in homes is decisions made by the woman. But what, unless it's specifically geared towards a male audience. But what's interesting here, Perry, is that I know in the counseling world, there's fewer and fewer men going into the field. So basically, we're losing track. We're losing them. And it's been a steady decline for the last few decades. What's happening is the messages that come through in advertising. If you watch the role that men play in those, there's a grocery store ad I'm seeing now, and a woman's coming to the car trying to talk her husband coming out of the car because he's afraid of going into this store. And she says, no, it could really be okay. And teases him, and finally he yields and he's weak and he comes and he does that. Something as simple as going shopping. And other places too, you oftentimes see the male who is put down, there's sarcasm, he's the dumb one of them. I don't think it's good in any case to show one partner smart and one person dumb when you're showing a marriage. Maybe you could show they're trying to make some decisions together. But those things build up over time, and no wonder you see marriage is on the decline, having children is on the decline. We don't see strong male images in these programs or these advertising. And even television programs, sitcoms. What is a TV show that's out there now that shows a strong, sensible father figure? I mean, you could still have humor with that, but there's a number of shows out there. He's the dumb guy. He's making dumb decisions. And so although he wants to be strong, wants to be more of an alpha male. Now, we're not talking about what do they call it, the toxic masculine label is put on there, but wants to play a strong, supportive role, which we are supposed to do. And instead, it's weak and it's beta and he's subservient and shoulders slumped and goes along with things. No wonder so many young boys don't want to grow up to be men. It's not their role model anymore. But there are also boys who say, I want to join the service, military service, because I don't want to be this. I want to be strong. I want to be my best at those things. But the message continues to pound out there. And no wonder men don't want to go into counseling. No wonder men oftentimes are not the ones who want to go to church. They think it's a place that plays down their strengths. But it's a cultural problem we face today.
Yeah, because one of the things that is a result of this is the warrior, protector, provider spirit of a man is greatly damaged. They've been pushed into a corner as doofuses.
That's right.
And yet the irony of this, if there is irony to this, or the flip side of this is, young men are coming to church in greater numbers than ever before, which to me is telling me that maybe they're waking up to the lie that the culture has been putting on them.
That's a great point. I think that is there, where they say, there's also been a feminization of the role of Jesus. The soft-spoken person is kind of weak and not really challenging thing. But Jesus came to challenge, right? I'm the new covenant, and I'm not going to sit back and let people continue to do what they're doing. Yes, he was gentle and he was peaceful and he was not harsh with people, but there were times when he also stood up and said, no, you can't go along with that. Get behind me, Satan. Now, he wasn't saying that Peter was Satan, but he was saying you can't have those kind of ideas where it's wrong. And it's important for men to be able to stand up and help each other with that. But as kids are growing and as young men are starting to go to church, they're saying, wait, this is a place of strength. This is a place where I can celebrate and grow in strength and be around other men that are supportive in that. I got to tell you, early morning Tuesday, I go to Bible study. And the leader there used some harsh words. Says, all right, this is Easter week. Get in there and do what you're supposed to do. Be strong. Get your family to church. I don't want to hear any more of this. He used a little harsh word there. You get in there and you stand strong and be supportive of your family. And we said, it's okay to hear that sometimes. Sometimes you need that little kick in the butt among men to be supportive. And that's okay to be strong and courageous that way. And I think men going back to church like that idea.
The hard part is to find the balance. Men and women are wired differently, right?
Want me to validate that? Let me ask my wife if I'm allowed to answer that question.
Don't tell me that's not your field. That is your field. So, and we've seen the movements on both sides of the equation. We can't seem to find the balance in this where we can come in. Can you be steel and velvet at the same time?
What a nice metaphor that is. Sure, you can. I mean, we can be supportive and loving and caring, but there's times to be strong too. I mean, the Bible lays it out. Sometimes it's misinterpreted. Did Paul say that women are supposed to be subservient, almost in a slave role with their husbands, and husbands are dominant? That's not the way I read it. When he says you have to love your spouse like you love the church, that's a pretty high standard. That's a pretty high standard to love your wife that way. But it really is very much working as a team, but appreciating there's differences between people. And to celebrate those, a joint among wood is strong as a dovetail when each is separate, but there's something that links them together and makes it strong. When it's just two things operating side by side, it's not very strong. And so it is in our relationships as well, whether it's friends or spouses or whatever that is, we should understand and appreciate those differences. And so as kids grow up, and if they want to run around and wrestle and play in the mud, and that's kind of a masculine behavior for boys, that's okay. If girls want to do it too, that's okay too. It doesn't mean they're becoming boys. But it's all part of the exploration, understanding of what our strengths are, and build upon that. And that the image you gave before is one way of doing that. But let's not knock it out of someone and say everything you do that's masculine is wrong, or everything you do that's feminine is wrong. Let's celebrate some of those differences and understand how each can be supportive of the other to make a better relationship.
That's wonderful. I'm going to ask you a big question, and you only got a minute to answer it, so we'll have to pick it up next time when we get together. Are you concerned about AI socially?
I'm concerned about certainly socially a number of things. I think it's too easy for people to turn towards it to answer questions. When you Google something, the first thing you get is the AI summary. And many times people stop there, not understanding that it's just a dumb computer trying to spit out something that's it's summarized from things. I also think it's very dangerous for counseling. People are using that more and more, only going to there with questions. And there have been cases where people have been more suicidal because AI is there to be supportive. Oh, yes, I understand you feel that way. Let's continue to talk about that. We have to remind people that's not a human. And so it is a concern for me. It's getting more and more sophisticated, and it's going to be harder and harder for us to determine, is this an AI image I'm talking to, or is this a real person? So there's a lot with that, and we need to be paying more attention to the reality of life.
Were you giving a thumbs up to these recent social media platforms' decisions and some of their being called into responsibility and paying the fines?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have the case in California, you have the case in New Mexico. It's a bigger fine in New Mexico. Yeah. And that's very, very important. And YouTube just yesterday announced that they are actually deliberately doing this.
Good to see you, friend. Thank you. Check out his website, drtimmurphy.com, and certainly get a copy of his book online, The Christ Cure, 10 Biblical Ways to Heal from Trauma, Tragedy, and PTSD. Thank you, Dr. Murphy. God bless you, friend.
God bless you, too.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living.